Hello. Welcome to the Shit Show. And I want to say hi to everybody. And I want to welcome Ruben. Thank you for showing up again. Always so
Hello.
I can always count on you. And Bruce, thank you for joining me again tonight on this wonderful Friday night.
It is a lovely Friday. It is only 90. It's only 97 degrees in San Antonio.
I don't know what the temperature is here, but it seems pretty nice outside. I mean, the weather seems like it's been pretty cold today, but we've had rain the last 2 days. And I want to welcome just another red shirt. He's joining our panel tonight.
Hi there.
So thank you for joining us.
Salutations, sir.
But so I was named the show this time. I named it Fighting for Freedom. Basically, because I think we are in dire straits. And if we don't start fighting, we're going to lose it all. That's how I feel. So one of the things that I thought we could talk about tonight was this whole thing with the Attorney General, Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton. And that whole thing, that huge mess that he was in the middle of. And how it seemed like everybody in government in Texas is against this man because he was backing Trump, and they hate Trump and they don't want Trump, so they had to try to get rid of him. But
you do remember who he beat in the primary, in the Republican primary in Texas? He beat one of the Bush family.
He beat George P. Bush, the piece of shit that ruined the cenotaph in San Antonio.
I remember something about that now that I think.
I remember it very well.
Yeah, this isn't just because Paxton is supporting Trump or opposing the Biden administration's border policy. It's also because he beat one of the Bush family to get himself onto the ticket for to be the Attorney General.
But
so he's got everybody. He pissed off.
Can I ask a question about that real quick? Was he backed by Trump?
I don't know whether he was backed by Trump as a candidate. I don't recall that. But
that would even be a stab in the back to the Bushes.
Ken Paxton was carrying water for Trump.
Okay.
Yeah,
he carried water for Trump. He did what he could to help Trump out over here, and his policies were very much MAGA, America first, Texas first. So he definitely was not involved with the globalist Bush family. He was not in their good graces, beating and giving the Bush family a black eye because George P. Bush is a POS globalist that has ruined part of Texas heritage, and you can read about that if you look up Alamo Cenotaph. They've moved landmarks to make Bush's investments in San Antonio that much more lucrative. He's just that type of grifter, and he's ruined parts of the city. He's ruined parts of the state. I'm glad he's no longer the Railroad Commission, which that's part of the group of people that mandates how your oil and gas facilities are working and how your sites are performing. And if there's ever like a handful of acid that spills on Texas caliche, the soil here, if you ever have a handful of acid spills on it, they come and they secure your site. They stop your work. You get no pay, and then they investigate and they figure out who's responsible for the handful of acid being thrown on site, because it's called a Railroad Commission, and it's not really involving any locomotives or track. It's meaning the Texas machine's going to ram it up your ass.
Yep. Well, did any of you on the panel watch this interview with Tucker?
I
haven't.
If we want to talk about that tonight, we can. But the summary.
No, I don't. We don't have to watch it right now. But what I was wanting to know is if any of you had seen it, because he talks about election fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard that
interview.
We got to actually watch that on Wes Moody webcast during his YouTube channel whenever he had it. from
Yeah.
2020 November. I was on the panel, and I left at 3 a.m., but they were having problems in Atlanta, Georgia. They were having fire alarms, water main breaks. They were having all these issues happen at about 4 a.m. Eastern time, and you could see that the machine was starting to move. And the quote from this article is they needed to figure out how many real votes there were so they could fix the mail-in ballots to apply to the election,
Yeah.
plus the rigging for the electric ballots. And that's what they would have done in Texas, I'm convinced. And also they had plenty of arrests here in Texas about voter fraud. One of them was covered by Project Veritas, but he forgot to mention that the lady that was arrested was covering for a Republican candidate. I believe it was George P. Bush. I'm not certain, but it was a Republican candidate that she was trying to rig for, and that kind of fell through. But Project Veritas got Rachel Rodriguez in the spotlight and a few other people that were doing election fraud practices back in 2020, and the resolution of that came a year later. This is a shit show.
Well, see, one thing that really chaps my ass about all of it is the fact that it's been almost 4 years since all this fraud information has been coming out, but nothing really, anything's changed. And I've heard all these rumors about how they're going to usher this fake administration out and put Trump back where he belongs and blah, 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 just all these different stories, but nothing. Nothing's happened. I haven't seen any major arrests for any of the cheating. I heard about all these people saying that that Miss Powell and all them were involved in this big thing in Germany where they went in and got the servers and did all this different stuff, and then nothing. It's like, and I don't know. I just was hoping, and I wanted to believe that they were going to swoop in and arrest all these people that were involved in it. They kept saying, well, we just need more evidence. We just need more evidence. I'm like, I don't know. I just think it's all bullshit.
The missile that hit, and I know this is probably conspiracy talk. If we're only 4 minutes, 7 minutes in, there was a missile that was rumored to have hit a building holding the server in Nashville on Christmas Day of 2020.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember that at 6 a.m.? A fucking building exploded in Nashville, and there was video, and you could see the little smoke trail from the rubble, but it hit the building that had some server information in it in Nashville.
Christ.
Yeah.
But nobody seems to remember that. I'm trying to find the information on that now. It's like, wow, I there's a lot of viruses out there on these websites. I can't go there.
They can scrub everything. That's what.
Yeah,
but again, it's the thing. But the thing is, it's out there. There are ways to find the information, and basically, we need to have a Edward Snowden / Julian Assange organization, something doing something about this kind of insane entity.
That's kind of odd because Project Veritas is getting sued Project Veritas is suing James O'Keefe because he started up OMG News. OMG News is making the money. Project Veritas isn't. Project Veritas kicked James O'Keefe out, and they've continued doing their exposés and stories, and they're even putting out good things. Even without James O'Keefe heading them, they are doing some discovery of truth. Of what the controlled opposition wants you to have, but they've done no fundraising, and so they're suing James O'Keefe for crossing the bridge he built, but yet the bridge supports are starting to give way, and they're not able to fund themselves, which is kind of interesting that you say that.
But again, I don't know if I said this already. I'm going back. We're repeating history over again. If you go back to like the 1890s, 1900s, the whole idea of the problems with society and the corporation getting bigger and bigger and bigger, the people clamored for, I want to have a union. We want to have protections. We want to have safety. We want to have the better foods, better schools. We have to do this, then up to the concrete jungle, up, Town Sinclair and all the stuff. It's all, we repeat it over and over again. So my fear is the breaking point is they want chaos so that we demand action. And there again, 9/11, what was the reaction? Patriot Act. You know, and
TSA created. The TSA has yet to arrest one terrorist, by the way.
right.
I
But that's
need to make that statement because there's nobody on the mainstream news that'll say it, and nobody from this panel said it yet, so I'll say it.
and think about it. How much has your life changed from that event? That your personal freedoms have changed, and it changed. But then think about this: the kids that are now in their 20s, or they grew up with it, so they comply. And I've seen it happen where little kids will just, oh, can I see your bag? And they'll just open it up, not say, hey, my rights. And this is that. They don't have no concept of what has gone through history over and over again. Because you're going to have like Mad Max with the gangsters and gangs happening. If society collapses, little pockets will come up of like warlords and stuff like that. It's going to be brutal. It's insane. But it's been, again, it happens over and over again. But then the reaction will be a war, because they did it in World War I, they did it in World War II, and then Korea and Vietnam and all that stuff. It's all about the military industrial complex. And I'm done with it. That's why I want to basically do this. I want to stand up now and write something out and saying, we can't, this is ridiculous. I'm done with like complaining. It's time for action. And I have nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose. I'm ready to do it.
If it makes you feel better, nothing's changed on the voting side there, Ruben. Everything is still the same from November of 2020. So the same phony show we saw starting up at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time will continue, and the beatings will continue until morale improves.
Exactly, because they haven't been beaten. They haven't been beaten enough to wake up.
Well,
and they're going to wake up. Going, how does this happen?
There is one possible difference, and that is the Virginia state elections that happened not long ago, where the Republicans got their act together. They had basically a war room of lawyers and a hotline to them, and told every election observer, if you see anything, call this number. There will be a room full of lawyers waiting to pick up the phone and talk with you about it. And the Democrats didn't sweep the board. The Democrat lost, and the Republican was elected governor, as I recall. Also, the Democrats lost, I believe, by like a seat, their majority in House in Virginia. That's the way it has to happen, because the alternatives are not worth thinking about, because once you cross that Rubicon, you can't go back.
Right. The ground game has to be mail-in balloting will occur. So we have to be very, very, scrupulous of the voter rolls and everything like that. Have it checked way advanced, because the Democrats are going to basically try and get everybody to have, get people that just, hey, it's someone's abandoned house. It used to be somebody's, like, fill them out. Right. It may happen. I'm just saying. So
I've been pushing what I talk about every single day in spaces and stuff is to sign up to work the polls. Okay. Because if your butt's in a seat, it makes it harder for them to cheat. And just think about it. If you have one butt in every chair in one count in every single little precinct in your town, okay, 20 people, 30 people, I don't know how many you'd have, depending on how big your town or city is, but you just get your group, your church group or your bowling league or your baseball team or whatever, and you all sign up to work the polls. You get paid. Okay. They train you. They show you what to do. They swear you in, and then you do the job. You spend the whole day there until all the votes are counted, and then you go home. But you leave and go to bed when you get home, knowing that you stop people from cheating just by your ass being in a chair. You know what I mean? But it makes a difference, because just like anything else, why do they have a greeter at Walmart? Because when you walk in the door and that person looks and says, hi, how are you? You're more likely not going to steal. I don't know why that makes a difference, but that's a huge thing that these big companies have found out. But the thing is, a person's not going to walk normally. I mean, in some big cities are doing it now because they just get garbage bags and fill their stuff up and leave, right? Because they're not going to get arrested. But most of the time, when a person comes in Walmart with their cart, they'll walk around and they'll take something, open it, and then they'll try to put it in their in their bag or whatever. But they're not going to do it right in front of someone that's standing there watching them. Okay, so if somebody had done what they did with the toilet leaking and then saying, oh, everybody's got to leave, we have a toilet leak that's like half a mile down the road or whatever, it wasn't even right there leaking on anything, and they came and told me I had to leave when I'm working the polls, which I work the polls. I'm a poll worker. I actually count ballots and do all that stuff, got sworn in and all that stuff. If they would have came and said, you have to leave, I would have picked up the box of ballots and said, okay, you get the books, you get this all go, and take everything that was given to us that we took an oath to watch and make sure no one else's signatures got written in those books and nobody else touched those ballots. And then I would have left with them, and they would be saying, what are you doing? We would have said, well, we took an oath. We can't leave this stuff. We'll take it with us. And they probably would have been pissed off. And I would have said, well, you're going to have to arrest me because I swore an oath. And I'm, until these ballots are counted and in that other box over there with a lock that's signed off by that judge that's right over there, I ain't letting them out of my sight. That's exactly what I would have done. And that's why they wouldn't have cheated around me because I wouldn't let them.
And that's what would stop them. That's what we have to. That's what has to happen. I just Janet, I shared a screen. We don't need to discuss the whole article, but the headline is interesting. Project Veritas suspends all operations amidst devastating layoffs and fundraising struggles. They've basically closed shop. If these reports are accurate, they now that O'Keefe is gone, they basically have given up. They've gotten rid of all of their remaining reporters. They're shutting down fundraising. They're shutting down their office. There are no operations at Project Veritas right now, as far as I can tell.
So is that why they got rid of him? Do you think that's why they got rid of him?
Well, I mean, they got rid of him because they wanted to shut down Project Veritas. I think the reason they're suing him is because he started a different operation, and they're like, "Wait a minute, you can't do this again. We just can't you." I think they wanted Project Veritas gone. The problem is they haven't figured out how to make him go away.
Yeah, but the thing I don't understand, I guess, because I just don't know enough about all this stuff, is how can a person like me start something, right? Build it up from nothing, make it something big that more people trust because I'm going undercover or getting other people and capturing these people telling lies or stealing or cheating or doing all these things. And then someone else comes in and says, you no longer can run your business. I just don't understand how that happens.
I'm not an expert on 501c3s and nonprofits, but basically, if he had run his operation as a one-man operation, it never would have happened, obviously. But with the structure that he created for Project Veritas, he had a board of directors, and when he had to,
right,
and
because it was
they're
the
company, they fired him. So what happened was the people who didn't like James O'Keefe managed to get themselves onto the board of directors, essentially infiltrated it, and then were able to get the board to vote. Now there's a lot of allegations about what O'Keefe did or didn't do, whether it was appropriate or not, and if they want to take that to court, they should take that to court and get it adjudicated, okay? Because right now, it's a he said, she said, the accountant versus the this, or this accountant versus that accountant. Bottom line is, the board decided to oust O'Keefe. Whether that was appropriate or not is from the point of view of Project Veritas, is immaterial, because without James O'Keefe, there is no Project Veritas. That's what we're seeing here. That they've just basically collapsed.
They proved that.
Yeah. So whether he did anything inappropriate financially, which is what I believe the allegations are, I've read a few of them. That gets into Enron style. You need accountants testifying, and you need audits, and that's going to be very, very ugly, very complicated, and most people will not really understand all of it. The bottom line is, though, James O'Keefe is the guy who created Project Veritas, and without him, Project Veritas just collapsed. Is the message. Now, whether O'Keefe continues to do what he's been doing and can do it, he's a target. We're seeing a lot of people who are impractical or unhelpful to the regime and the people who are in charge of things, the best and the brightest, as they would call themselves, or the elites.
Yeah.
I mean, James O'Keefe, Russell Brand, the Ken Paxton in Texas.
Yeah.
They're all thorns in the side of the same bunch of people. And that's why they're all being, in my opinion, that's why they're all being attacked right now. That's why they're going after them. Whether they've done anything wrong, Paxton won every single one of his charges. He beat every one of the charges.
And how many were there? Like 16?
14. There were like 14 or more. Yeah.
That's
and
ridiculous.
And I was watching in real time on Twitter.
Mm.
And it was, it's like, he just beat number 12, beat number 13, beat number 14. I'm like, yes. But this is what it's going to come down to, and this is going to get worse in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because
just wait until it's Trump's turn.
Right. Well, you're right in that. You're right.
He's not going to get a good judge. That's what I'm worried about.
Well, no, but you know what? Trump can't vote for himself. But even if he's convicted, he can still run. Just ask the people of Louisiana who elected a convicted Democrat because they didn't want David Duke. So it doesn't stop him. And that's what really scares them, is that they can charge him with anything they want, but they can't necessarily take him out of the race and keep him out of the White House. And they're trying desperately to find something to use as a lever. And I don't think they've found it yet. And I think that's why they're scared. And they're going after everybody that worries them.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right about the voting thing, because that's why they want to stop these people. Because if people like you or me or Bruce or Ruben actually sat our butts down in a chair in a voting station, it would be much harder for them to say, "Oh, we need to close down." No, we don't. We're not finished counting yet.
Mm-hmm.
They know that now because they tipped that hand.
And see, that's one thing though, is that I try to explain to people when we're and I share links on how to sign up to be a poll worker, and they're like, a poll watcher, and I'm like, no, a person that actually sits there at a table that looks at the driver's licenses or the IDs and counts the votes at the end of the night. That person. And then they talk about, try to explain to them about what happens when someone has a spoiled ballot. When a person comes and they write on their ballot and they mess it up, and they bring it back, and what you have to do to put that into a envelope and have spoiled ballot on it. And then you have a judge or the police chief or whoever they put in charge of that polling station sign off on it too, along with the signatures from the table of people who passed that ballot to the person in the first place, so that you can give them another ballot legally to make sure that ballot is sealed and isn't going to be counted. There's steps for everything. And if people follow the steps, it's almost impossible to cheat. I mean, it really is. It all makes sense. That's why when I started seeing all the videos coming out, I was like, what the blank is going on? How are these people getting away with doing this shit? I just couldn't believe it. The only thing that is possible is that all of them are in on it. Mm-hmm. The whole group of people were in on the cheat. That's the only way that worked. Because if my butt was there, I would have said, what the fuck? And I would have been calling 911 because somebody had to see what I was seeing. And I would have had my phone out and started videoing it. because what are they going to do? Arrest me? Well, good, arrest me, because then I'm going to start bringing more people to see this shit. Because the only thing I could think of is they would have had to beat me up or knock me unconscious or something. I don't know what they would have done if I'd been in the middle of something like that, because that wouldn't happen. But I've worked the polls in 3 states, and it's not that much different. It really isn't. From what I saw, that was just blatant cheating. Every single video I saw was blatant cheating, and I don't see how. I just can't believe that nobody said anything. They just sat there and let them cheat. I don't know. To me, my father was military, and I just couldn't do it. I could not sit there and just say, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about it, because that's bullshit. There's something you can do, and that means speak up right then when you're seeing it happen, instead of waiting until it's too late. Because I knew when Pence didn't take those states and make them take their votes back and fix the mess on those states that were asking to send them back there so they wouldn't get the electoral college votes counted, I knew he was in on it. I just felt like, oh, well, he's a crook. Because all he had to do was say, we don't take them, and send them back. That's all he had to do. That's not cheating. That's giving it back to the states where it belongs and let them fix the cheating. But he didn't. That's where we are right now.
He's admitted. He has said both that he couldn't at first.
Mm-hmm.
Recently in an interview, I believe he said he could have. It was, and by the way, Congress changed the law that allows the vice president to question the electoral college results. When he was vice president in 2020, he could have.
Mm-hmm.
The vice president can't now, because Congress actually rewrote the law about that election handling.
So if vice president can't, who does it now?
The states have to do it. It's entirely up to each individual state to choose its electors and send them to Washington to vote on a presidential election. The federal government eliminated its say in the process.
And
it's all because
they would take that position. You would think they would try to centralize it more.
Well,
I think this is similar to eliminating the filibuster in the Senate. It was a short-term gain, and they didn't realize what a long-term loss it could turn out to be. And it bit them later. And I think this is the same sort of a decision. It was an immediate, we're going to make it so that the vice president can't question the election. And because then we're safe, right? We can, once we have it rigged, or once we have it figured out and fortified, that's the proper word, fortified. The New York Times told me that. Once we have it fortified in enough states, we're good and we're safe. I don't think they've quite thought it through, because they have done this before and it has bitten them in the ass in the end.
Well, I'm a firm believer in when Trump ran the first time and he won, okay, I don't think they expected him to win, because the fix was already in for Hillary. Because when Podesta, the video cameras on Hillary's face and Podesta's telling her she lost, you could tell that she was like shocked, because she didn't even go to a few states because she thought it was in the bag. She didn't have to worry about it. It's my turn. I'm going to win. It's my turn. You guys gave it to Barack. Now it's my turn. And when she lost, she was ticked. And I think that some heads rolled because of that.
I think she went. I think she completely lost it.
She did.
What we have heard, what little we have heard from her campaign headquarters in 2016 is basically that she went completely postal. It's lucky nobody else got Arkansas that day.
Yeah, I think people did. I just think there were lower people on the totem pole, and so they were, missed or whatever. They were just local people or whatever. But she was not happy. She was not happy at all. And they thought, okay, well, cheating was working, but it wasn't enough because it was overwhelmed the system. So they had to revamp the system with these brand new machines that could be fixed over the internet, right? Because cramming enough ballots in there is too obvious. So it had to be fixed with drones or whatever it was through the internet to finish the deal, which is,
well, the thing is that we still had 30 million more voters voting than what we had registered voters across the fucking fruited plain. How the fuck does that go unnoticed and not talked
and
about?
also
it didn't go unnoticed.
Yeah.
Nobody did anything.
That's the fact.
Well, that's just one real quick thing, Janet. That's because there was not a judge that had the nerve to even hear the evidence. Not a single court was willing to step up and say, I will hear this case. They all punted.
Because they knew
And they're
Hillary
all
was going to
cowards.
Arkansas them. That's
they're
why.
all one. They're all.
I'm
There's just
talking
one fact.
both of them. Both elections, 2016, 2020. No court was willing to step up and say, well, hear this.
No.
And when the people say, there's no evidence, it's like, no, there's plenty of evidence. It's never been adjudicated in a court of law.
Correct.
Well,
What it had to be.
People that went to was it the Congress that they were standing there and pleading and showing what they had, right? And Pence still accepted the Electoral College votes anyways, right? That's why the whole January 6th thing was set up, to try to make it look like Trump was trying to cheat. See, the thing is that what happens is when you got a person that's cheating, okay, even in a marriage, okay, the husband or the wife's cheating on the other one. So they accuse the husband or the wife of cheating. Usually the cheater is the one accusing the other one first. It's always that way, because when you're crooked and you're a cheater, you blame the other one so that they think, oh, it's taking the heat off me because now everybody's looking over there at the other shiny object, right? So there you go.
Well, it's
me,
not
it was
just
the same as day.
It's not just human nature. It's not just human nature.
Mm-mm.
It's a political strategy, and I can tell you who said it. And I believe the quote is, accuse your enemies of what you are doing while you're doing it to sow confusion. You know who said that? Karl Marx.
Yeah.
Karl Marx wrote that.
Or Alinsky.
Saul Alinsky took that and ran with it with his rules for radicals.
Correct.
But the actual quote comes directly from Karl Marx. And I like to tell people on Twitter, well, I see that you learned your Marx well in college.
And here's the irony
when
of
they say
that.
something like that.
Karl Marx was an influencer. He's basically the 19th century TikToker. He didn't do anything.
Yes.
He just basically was an influencer and basically did that. And now he's revered.
He never had a job.
That is, I can only imagine whichever one they're talking, Hassan, I remember him talking about him or whatever. 100 years from now, it's insane what's going to happen. It's repeating itself over again. It's ridiculous.
I would love to go back in time and just assassinate him before he got big, because like the only thing we would have lost was just another shitty poet. And literally, if you ever read Karl Marx's poetry, like you're like, can I just burn this book? You can call me a German, I don't give a fuck. And I just fucking set fire to it, because all he ever made was love poetry to Satan. That was it. And I wish I was making that up, but Google Karl Marx's poetry and should be like the first 2 entries off the Google or the Bing, because they're a piece of shit and they love making fun of anything that's Christian based or whatever.
That's terrible.
And the correlation there, the correlation, my friends, to that is basically now the Grammys have that thing that went off with the devil stuff going on. It's the same damn thing over again.
We've
corrupting
seen this movie before, Ruben. Come on.
the mind, the young.
Well, the
I know.
thing is- They do what works, okay? And nobody stopped them. All the evidence that came out about the cheating, nothing happened, okay? They can pretty much do anything they want. They can go in a store and steal everything they want and leave, and nobody does anything. The only ones that get in trouble are you and me because we pay taxes because we are
So that-
trying to follow the law.
Well,
That's why
there
we're
are
fucked,
people,
right?
there are people who've stopped them. And yes, and sometimes those are the people who get charged. But the Sikhs in their store who were being robbed in California not long ago, where we famously saw a viral video of a man beating the living daylights out of a
thug.
thief with a stick.
That was great.
At first, the news was they were going to charge the shop owners. They have since dropped those charges because people went, "Are you kidding me?" So it's not all one way. And
No.
yes, there are let's put it this way. In the next year, here's my best advice. Stay away from crowds. You do not want to be in a crowd anywhere because
No.
that has the potential to be very, very bad. But it doesn't mean you cannot speak out, document, use your phone camera, videotape, post on Twitter. We still have Twitter for now. We still have some YouTube, and we have Rumble. Those are the places that you can get the word out. Those are the places where you can say it. Twitter and Rumble being the two best, YouTube having the biggest audience.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, well, we still have Minds, but nobody goes on Minds. Not even all the libertarian friends I have.
I post on Minds almost every day.
You're the only person I know, aside from Lady Red, that I know that does. And if you guys have a account on Minds, you know who Lady Red is, because she's the most viral. She's the cat turd of Minds.
And I know who Cat Turd is.
I love Cat Turd.
Well, I like Cat Turd too.
My fucking hero.
It's sad. I wish we had more of them.
And that's the thing. We have these heroes down. If you live in an age of heroes, people who come up prominently, have their 15 minutes and then go away or stay around. And not to say I want to be that person, but I'm just done with it all. I want to start doing something. Like I said, find a place to live and start talking about these things, like really expose recycling, expose the environmentalism, expose planned obsolescence, expose all the cobalt, everything. And I want to do it now because I'm just done with it. I'm just done sitting around. I want my strength back to enough to get up and do these things too, you know?
Yeah, I think that you're amongst millions now because there's more and more people like you and I that are sick of the shit, and we're trying to do what we can to get the word out and to get people to understand that we're the only thing stopping them. Is you and me. Until they put us in a gulag and take our means of doing anything away, we have to just keep doing it. We have to keep doing whatever it is that we can do. Work the polls, even though people say voting doesn't work, but I believe it does. I think we have to start at home, work our way up through our state, and then work from the state through the federal government. I think that's the only way that we can do it.
Yes, right. Start local.
You're saying be more concerned about your local environment first.
You have to, because that's the whole thing. That's what I'm doing with my life. I was sick. I was dying. And I said, you know what? Got to start with the one person to love the most is myself. And then from there, expand it out. So I'm about to expand it out. I want to find a wife. I want to do this journey with her. And that is now I'm decided or had the vision, whatever, if you want to say it, is to basically help everybody produce good stuff. Like if Bruce has a gaming channel, help him with that. If Janet, you have more videos and you have ideas, you want to do a women's seminar, help you with that. If somebody wants to learn about history, math, science, help you do that. Be like a producer. I want to do like film festivals with real movies who don't go to do stuff, anything and everything, because it's time now to stand up. You have the whole, like, not the Manaverse, but the Datoverse, X-Ray Girl's going to be doing that, interviewing men who basically saying, I'm done with it. And my mission now is to be the brother of everybody to basically help them out to get Caviar 6. And, because we have to do that now. We have to basically realize that the system is meant for you to be in fear, angry, irritated, medicated and just compliant, be having the thing stuck, the phone sucking your brain out, or the food. My God, the food, it's processed. It's terrifying. I stopped processed food. That's why I lost over 200 pounds, because I just stopped at all that crap. I know what I'm eating, and I prepare my own food, and then teach skills again: how to cook, how to hunt, how to fish, how to do everything. Got to bring it back.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me. I left the big city, moved to Hillbillyville, where I have to drive 47 miles to buy alcohol. I can't get pizza delivered. I have to, I have a greenhouse. I'm raising my own chickens. I have a well. I'm trying to be ready for when the government turns everything off. I can try to be as self-sustainable as possible. And, a lot of people think that's nuts because of it.
We need to talk then.
But
I didn't know this about you. So. Yeah.
Well, the thing is that we have to do the best we can at being able to be self-sustainable. As little on the government tent as possible, because that's what the government wants. That's why every city is so bad. I mean, all you have to do is watch TV or the internet at all, any videos, and it shows the horrendous conditions of all these Democrat cities. You have homeless out the wazoo, and it's not just because they want to be homeless. It's because they can't keep a job because they're on drugs or they're alcoholics or whatever it is. I'm just shocked. I see it, and I see the garbage, and I see the tent cities, and guess what? And then you ask some of these people, and they've got the tents were given to them by the city. The clothes, their shoes, everything. It's all given to them.
If you remember that pop culture reference, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Great movie.
Oh yeah.
Jack Nicholson's character is the only one in that movie who's actually involuntarily committed. Everybody else is there because they want to be, in spite of what
it's a
horrible, evil character Nurse Ratched is. What we did when that movie came out, it was bipartisan. We closed almost all of the sanitariums, the mental health facilities. There's one other reason why some people are living on the street. Not just that they have a drug addiction, although that's true. And some of them just like, I like it this way. I don't understand that mentality, but there are apparently some people who are what are called urban campers, and they think it's cool to live like that. It's not a lot of responsibilities, but the rest of the people who are out there who aren't on drugs are nuts, literally, clinically crazy.
And if it's so bad, how are you supposed to help these people? How are we as a society, when we're pretty much bankrupt now, because of all the billions of dollars we're sending to Ukraine and other countries that hate our guts, that want to see us all burn to the ground, which is what we are from the inside out. How are we supposed to, once we get control, how are we supposed to help these people? How are we supposed to gather these people up and help them get off the drugs or off the alcohol or get the mental help they need?
We have to change. Well, okay, because what we have to do is eliminate homelessness as a permanent government program, because there's too many administrators who are like, my next year's budget is going to be 15% higher than this year's budget because there are more homeless people. This is great. Bureaucrats are the reason we have hope. Bureaucrats are the reason that we can't fix homelessness. Bureaucrats protect their departments. In the end, and this is the iron law of bureaucracies. I forget what writer said this, but basically, any bureaucracy will eventually, whatever its original mission, become dedicated to preserving itself and its budget, and that's it. So when you create a department of homelessness, you get homeless people that they don't want to put in housing. They just want to use it to justify the next year's budget, and that is the nature of bureaucracies.
But how many years after 50 years of growing up, seeing the homeless people in your streets, seeing the city parks filled with tents and trash, and the crime rate going through the roof, and never having enough police officers, all that stuff, and seeing it through your whole lifetime. When do you say, well, enough is enough? We need to vote these people out and get new people in there. But
Boy,
nobody
Janet.
does. And
Every
if they
20 years.
did, is it because
Yeah.
they cheated their way in all this time? I mean,
Some of it
it's a
maybe,
cycle.
but some of it is weaponized kindness. It is, I'm trying to be nice to these people. I remember
Yeah.
hearing, and they would be reported. I lived for 35 years in Massachusetts, which is infamous for its very cold, icy, and snowy winters compared to here in
Mhm.
central Texas now. And it would be a remarkable event when homeless people would start going to the shelters. Normally, they didn't.
mhm.
Never full. You knew we were going to be in for a big cold nor'easter when all of the homeless shelters in Boston filled up. The people didn't want to go there. That's not what they want. They'd rather sleep on a subway grate where warm air is coming up from the T, and they're free. They're at liberty. They don't have to obey all the damn rules of the shelter. Now, as a libertarian, I can understand that. But I also understand some people don't know how to help themselves. And somebody wrote a book a while back where he sold everything he had. He sold his car, he quit his job, he sold his apartment, he stopped his apartment lease, and he walked out and he was homeless. And he said, okay, how long is it going to take me to get a job, a car, and an apartment?
Mhm.
The answer, 6 months. Homelessness is not a permanent condition. It sucks. Believe me. I mean, I just got laid off a few months ago, and I'm like, boy, I'm glad I have my own retirement safety net to rely on, because
Mhm.
living in the middle of nowhere like this, there aren't a whole lot of jobs. But the
Mhm.
bottom line is that there is a way. If you're willing to put in the effort, there's a way.
But that's because
I
you
might have had to move.
want something. See, the difference between you and another person is a person that doesn't want anyone telling them what to do. They don't want the responsibility of having to pay for a car or a place to live, or the responsibility of taking care of anyone, right? They don't want responsibility. So they don't
Yeah.
care if they don't have a job. But then you have another person that does have a house or a car or whatever, and they want money. So they'll go look for another job. So they're not
Right.
homeless. That's the difference.
And yeah, so my point, I guess my point is that we don't address the reason that people are homeless when we try and solve homelessness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And as a
We just
result,
throw money at it.
it's never
give them
gone
free
away.
shit.
Right. It's never
Because you
gone
give
away.
them free stuff.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, yeah,
you look at homes
exactly.
today, like you have. I've talked to I don't know how many parents, and they're like, my son won't come home when he's supposed to. He's always 2:00 in the morning when he knows he has school the next day. This is like Thursday night or whatever, and this, that, and the other. They're griping about it. I'm like, so how does he get around? And they go, well, because of his truck. And I'm like, why does he still have a truck? Is he making the payments for it? Well, no, we are. But why don't you stop letting him drive the truck? Okay, there's lots of things you can do, but because they don't want to be mean or whatever to their son, they give
Right.
him this really nice Raptor that I can't afford, right? But
Jesus Christ.
they'll give it to him. But
I
they give
get
him a
it.
phone, they give him clothes, a place to live, and they just let him run all over them. So how is he ever going to graduate from high school, go out and get a job and have a boss that says you have to be at work at this time, you have to this and that, when they got parents that let them walk all over them? See,
Oh my
they're
God,
we're teaching
yeah,
our kids to have no respect for anyone, because we don't respect ourselves enough to tell them to get off your damn ass, or guess what? No phone, no truck, no nothing, unless you do what we tell you. This is our house. If you don't like it, move out. That's what
That's
our
right.
parents told us.
and that's what they told me. In fact, I had my own car and paid for my own insurance, and my
Mhm.
parents said, you can't take it to college. I said, why not? They said it'll hurt your grades. I said, it's my car. I bought it. I paid for it. I'm
Mhm.
paying the insurance on it. Are
Yep.
you going to tell me that I'm literally at the verge of telling my mother, I'm going to report you for Grand Theft Auto. You're stealing my goddamn car. I paid for it. Didn't. My sister drove it in high school.
Well,
But I understand what you're saying, because that is exactly what I was told. You get what you
Mhm.
earn, and
Mhm.
you work for what you have. And we didn't go on vacations every year. This is another example like you're talking about.
Yep.
I don't remember. I
I
can
had
remember I could count on one hand the number of times my parents took us on a vacation where we flew somewhere and went on vacation.
Mhm.
Normally, we went to our relatives. We went to my grandparents, either
Yeah.
one place or another, one set or other grandparents. Actual real vacations. And I hear people talking about, oh man, I didn't get to have a vacation last year. And my last vacation was only 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh my God. I've never been
2
on a 2 week
weeks.
vacation. Yeah, I've never
Hey,
been on a 2 week vacation in my life, but I
I
have not
I grew
been.
up in a house with 4 sisters, okay? My dad got out of the military. We moved into a 3-bedroom house with 1 bathroom because that's what my
Oh,
parents could afford,
wow.
okay?
Yep.
So, and we all cleaned. All of us girls, we had chores we had to do. I did a lot of the outdoor ones because I was the tomboy. So I mowed, I took care of the pets and, that kind of stuff, outside stuff, cut trees, limbs down, whatever, and help my dad at the farm or whatever. But my mom would say, okay, school's going to be starting in 2 months or whatever, So if you want an annual, or if you want to go to a dance or anything like that, you'll have to, or get a senior ring. When it was our senior ring time, you'll have to get a job to help pay for it, because we can't afford to buy all of you annuals, all of you this, that, and the other. So, and for Christmas, we were so happy when Santa Claus brought us, jeans and makeup or whatever it is that we asked for, because that meant we didn't have to buy it because Santa Claus did, because we had a younger sister that, had Santa. So we were lucky to have all this stuff. But the thing is, we got jobs. I remember my first job was working at a chicken plant for Tyson. Okay. And I had to pull guts out of chickens, had to do a bunch of nasty stuff that I didn't want to do, but I didn't care. I wanted an annual. I wanted to go to the school dance. So I had to earn the money myself. And if I didn't get it. Okay. What happened to those parents? What happened to parents that gave a shit about their kid to make them earn something?
Okay,
What happened to them?
let me tell you what's going on, Janet. Those
Okay.
parents are now grandparents or great grandparents.
Okay.
The parents that we have now are going into debt to keep their kid afloat so he can do the things in high school that would be considered normal 20 years ago, which is have your own vehicle or do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't ever tell fucking Junior no. You don't ever tell him, like, hey, I expect you to deliver some good grades because that's your only responsibility, is doing this indoctrinated high school bullshit until you graduate. And then you can worry about adulthood and bills and all that. But these parents are buying stupid things like brand new Note 12 or Note 15 phones, or the brand new iPhone 16 or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Sending the kid off to school with Michael Jordan shoes, and they've got a brand new, some sort of Toyota Camry, or if you're in southern states below Mason-Dixon, your kid's got a brand new F-250 that he can help you with on the fifth wheel, but, he doesn't have the driving ability to do fifth wheel driving. You know how that is. And the kid will never fucking put that truck anywhere near any sort of responsibility if he can help it. It's going to be used to shuttle pussy around so he can do stuff before he turns 18 and burn a hole in your pocket. In the UK, they call this the kippers. Kids in parents' pockets peeling, what is the retirement savings? It's fucking horrible. But this is what's going on, and people don't tell their kids the simple word no.
And
like
exactly,
I love the word no. The word no is my friend. If I could fuck my friend in front of everybody, I'd be fucking the word no here, because no gives you power. When you say no, you're not doing that. You're retaining your autonomy. You're not bending over backwards. You're not you're going into some stupid territory where you've got to acquiesce to somebody's bad idea. The word no will save your fucking soul. It will keep you sane. Because, like, no, I'm not letting my kid do that. No, my sister does not need to borrow my home while I'm at work so she can fuck her Sancho. I don't need that.
Yeah.
The word no is so important, and people forgot what it meant. We'll get more on the word no later.
And Janet, that's a perfect thing, Bruce, because one of the things about young people today, they've gotten participation trophies. I have trophies I have trophies in a bookshelf behind me. 3rd place and 2nd place. I've never gotten a 1st place. I sucked at auto racing. I was really bad most of the time. I was good at skiing. I didn't get any trophies for skiing because I said, you know what? I don't want to compete. I want to have fun doing it. So I did. I've been a manager. I've interviewed people. I know people who've been managers and interviewed people. And in the last 20 years, interviewing a 20-year-old coming out of college or a 21-year-old, 22-year-old coming out of college has been an exercise in surrealism. I know one case where a young woman showed up at a company for an interview with 3 different managers that day, wearing a bathing suit and a cover-up for the bathing suit and flip-flops with all of her beach accoutrements in her bag. And she shows up to this company to get an interview for a job. And the senior manager, who was supposed to be her last interview, was told, she's here at the front desk, but I think you need to come down and talk to her. So the senior manager comes down and talks to her, takes one look at her and says, you can go home. Why? I'm here for an interview. I said, you're not dressed for an interview. You're not going to have an interview today. When you're ready to have an interview and you're ready to dress to have an interview, you may come back. My mother will be in touch. I said, I'll be happy to explain to your mother why it is that you're not getting an interview today. That's an example. It's not, it's not ubiquitous. It's not everyone. Wrong. But there are young people out there who will show up at an interview. Do I actually have to be here at 9:00 every day? Yes. That's no fun.
Well, I knew people that did that. They dressed inappropriately, or they painted their nails black, or wore their hair all spiked up and put a bunch of jewelry on, and wore inappropriate things because they didn't want the job. They wanted to be rejected just so they could get their paperwork signed, so they could get their unemployment check. So I've seen that many times by perfectly healthy people that could work, but they didn't want to. And they would tell me how stupid I was because I went to a job and pulled guts out of chickens because I wanted to pay for something that I needed. And when they said, well, you can just, if you got fired from your other job, you get fired and then you apply for unemployment. And they were milking the system. And they grow up milking the system because their mom and dad did it, and now they do it. See,
but here's
I gotta say that I can tell a story on myself because I pulled what I've heard called a white mutiny once. Now I was working for a startup software company, which of course, in a startup software company, everybody wears hiking boots because a mountain may grow in the middle of the machine room back in the old days when you actually had machine rooms and we didn't all have PCs on our desks. And I was working for this company, and it was bought by an enormous consulting company. And they told us, we're going to leave your culture alone. We like what you do. You're good at it. We're going to let you keep doing what you do. And they said, fine. 4 months later, we're instituting a dress code. Gentlemen must wear a tie and a shirt. Ladies must wear skirts or dresses. No pants, no jeans. Now, I wore casual shirts to work and khakis. That was my normal work attire. So I sang in a group in college that one of our characteristics was that we all wore the ugliest ties we could find with a blue blazer, gray slacks, white shirt, and the ugliest ties we could come up with. I haunted used clothing stores and you name it. I had some ties that would make you lose your lunch. I picked out one of my old college ties and I put it loosely knotted it around my neck with whatever shirt I felt like wearing that day. And technically, I was wearing a shirt and a tie. They clashed horribly all the time. I would have been painful to look at for anybody who is well put together and has a fashion sense.
I see Rodney Dangerfield in my head.
I see
But
Rodney
I met
Dangerfield.
I met the criteria, and you want to know what? No one ever said a word to me. They never said a word. They never called me in to talk to HR and said, we don't like your taste in ties or anything. It was just, I wore a tie, I met the criteria, and I was flipping them the bird the whole time. So I can see the some of the corporate rules and requirements are nonsense. But that's after you're there, you've gotten the job, and you're good at it. And then they're like, I don't want to lose the guy. Just ignore the tie, okay? Just ignore the tie.
So,
My favorite tie is
The funny
hilarious.
thing is that
Oh my
I was the one girl that always liked the guy that wore the bow tie, and the other guys are all wearing regular ties, and they're like, why do you like that? I go, I don't know. I think something is very adorable about a guy that wears a bow tie. And they laugh at me. So when I got to see somebody on Fox News that every week they wore was it Jesse Waters?
Jesse Waters or
Yes.
Neil Ford?
Jesse
Tucker
Waters.
Carlson.
There was a couple of them that wore a bow tie, and I don't remember because
Yeah.
I never hardly ever watched them. But my parents watched it, and I was like, "He's cute. I like his bow tie." Why? I don't know, but it's just weird. Maybe it's because it was nerddom or something. Because
I can tell you, any man who can tie a bow tie is a magician.
Well, I
because
think
a
it was
bow tie-
a fun one.
No,
That's I
no.
With his
That's
finger.
no. That
don't
no,
know. I
no,
never met him in
no,
person.
no.
He was on TV.
Clip-on ties. No,
I
I
am a
didn't wear a
musician that
clip-on tie after I was 8. But I can assure you that tying a bow tie, and I had to do it for my tuxedo, which I owned for a while, requires magic. There is an element of magic to making a bow tie look good. And it's because you can't see it, it's under your chin, and it's backwards in a mirror. And I guarantee you, any man who can tie a properly tied bow tie has some sort of magic. So there you go. That's why you like them.
Winters are simple. I can do those standing on my head. A bow tie, I actually have to kind of focus on it a little bit. But yeah, I get that what you're saying there, because I sold Hondas for a little bit, and they had a dress code at the Honda store in October of 2019. I rejected going back in the oil field because the oil field companies around here were all moving out to Midland, and I'm like, fuck you, Midland. I'm not going out there. So I had a job at Honda, and I kind of did the same thing where I technically wore a collared shirt to work, but I had to wear a bow tie or a tie. And so I would wear a bow tie there. And I never sold a fucking car. They never gave me no scratching on the back or nothing. That store hated me, and within 3 weeks I was fired. Which I will tell you guys, if you ever go to Hill Country Honda, just take a shit right there in public on camera and walk back to your car and go buy a car from a homeless man. You'll be a lot better off.
Welcome to the shit show.
Yeah, but that's just about where we are right now. We have a government that says this is what we're going to give you, and it's free. And they're just walking over the border and they're handing it over to them, and we're still going to work and paying taxes so we can pay for them people.
Well, you saw what Chicago's doing, right? The little pet projects that Chicago's got going on right now with their little diversity hire guy. He's talking about having government school or government subsidized stores. They're getting away from capitalist stores in Chicago. He wants to open up nothing but government stores.
Yeah, Russia.
Because the grocers there are being robbed hand over fist. There's no need to call the cops. The cops are like, fuck you. We're not going for some petty retail theft under $1,000.
So the government stores would be like you stand in line and get your loaf of bread type of bread line type thing. Is that what you wanted to do?
the little pet project diversity hire of Chicago wants to do that.
When's like they want to
They're starting it. That's it. That's the start where it's going to be like Venezuela. And you have your little coupon you get that says, okay, you can get a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, and whatever, butter or whatever it is. And you go in line, you get with your rations. These are your rations for the week. And as long as you're a good citizen, you'll come back next week and get something else.
Well,
and maybe you'll get a chocolate bar.
As long as Big Mike is there in Chicago, or the guy has a property in Chicago, I'm sure Big Mike and his wife, Barry Obama, will.
Oh, here you go. Look at this. Right here.
What we do?
Yeah.
We're the government and we're here to help.
Here to help. Yeah.
Oh, my God. I just don't know what we're going to do. I really don't. I think one day I'll see something or I'll see people doing something and I get hope, a glimmer of hope that something good might come out of some of this. But each month that goes by and nothing new has happened or nothing's changed and things are the same. We're about to have another election and I don't see anything put in place to stop what happened last time.
Yeah, that's why
especially in the 5 states that cheated hugely.
Yes.
I don't see an end. We can't survive. I don't even know how we're going to make it until if we get a new person in office that's not on have the same letter beside their name, basically, how we're going to recoup from what we've already gone through and what we're going to be adding to it until the next election and that person's sworn in the following January. I just don't see us being able to do it. I mean, we are so far in debt now that our great grandchildren that aren't even born yet are already in debt.
Yeah.
And they haven't even got jobs. They had a long time before they can even work to put into the system. So I just don't see how we're going to recoup from any of it.
Well,
I really don't.
That's why I say it's time to fortify the cities. That's why I'm looking for a place to live, or basically, wherever you live right now, if you decide to live where you stay there, or want to go somewhere where it's more strategically advantageous, if things were to go sideways, then do that now. That's one of the reasons why I'm also losing weight and getting fit and being ready for whatever happens next. I want to live, I have hope for the future, but again, I want to basically be able to do whatever I need to do. And then basically doing this, getting fit, learning how to learn to cook, hunt, a garden. That's what I want to do. I want to basically have land there and then help everybody prepare, get the word out. Because you're saying it right now, because that's the thing. Imagine all of us that we know on Twitter, if each of us had a show, went out there or got involved locally in what they want to do. Like we're gonna when the election happens, we'll be poll watchers. We'll be there. We'll get involved, or we'll be judges of election. That's what it is. Where they actually do the taking of the ballots and going that. Because again, poll worker. They want to basically make it happen so that it's safe and secure. Real for this time, and let the people speak.
Yeah, I every time I've worked the polls in the place that I've been in, a couple of them was in like university. They have a huge basketball stadium thing, and that we'd have elections in there. And you're allowed to get up and walk around, take breaks or whatever, because there's enough people to verify everyone and go to the ladies' room or whatever, but you're not to leave the building. Okay, you're not allowed to leave. So you have to bring your lunch with you and all kinds of things. There's rules, okay, for a reason. But the thing is, walking around and watching all the people doing their job, I felt secure. I felt secure that when I voted, that my vote mattered, at least in the area where I voted. But now nationwide, I don't believe it. I don't trust them. I trust the state that I'm in now more than I did in the state that I was in, but I still don't trust the overall numbers, because now that I know that a lot of the systems in the other states are hooked up to the internet and that anybody can type in whatever they need to make a difference. Like when in the middle of the day, the night, the next morning, early in the morning, you see all these numbers flip to the opposite side, stuff like that. That's not normal.
You ever watch the video where
evidence showing that in these two counties, there was 172,000 voters that were registered, but they had 222,000 votes.
Yep.
That right there proves election fraud. So all that would have to go back and be recounted and verified, because where I was at, they have a box at our table. There's a box that the judge sits and watches the person drop the ballot into the box. And that's all he watches. It's just that box and who's putting in it. And that each person that's putting something in is putting in one ballot. But before they did, at the bottom of the paper, there's a number, a ticket number, and then there's a number on the ballot. Okay. So they tear it off. Okay. And then there's a box next to it that's locked, and they slide that little ticket in, and then they put their ballot into the other box. Okay. And that by the end of the night, we're all there. The judge comes by and unlocks the boxes for everybody. And then he says, okay, get your stuff, your ballots out. And then we get them out and we count them. The people at our table that handled the ballots all night and verified signatures or whatever are the ones that can touch the ballots in the box at our table, period. Okay, so we count them. We all agree. We all high five. Yep, we got everything matches up. How many ballots we have, how many tickets are in the box. There's 25, 50, whatever amount of tickets in the box that were torn off each of the ballots, match how many ballots are in the box. And on our paperwork, if we have any spoiled ballots, we have one spoiled ballot, then we have one spoiled ballot. We mark it on the sheet and we all sign our names or our initials, proving that. And then we stand up, or one person that represents our table stands up and says, we have this many ballots or votes for this person. And then we have this many votes for that person. That's it. Then it goes to the next table and the next table and the next table. And then at the end of the night, we have this many votes for this person, this many votes for that person. And that's the whole building of all the votes. And then we have our totals. Then we call them into the state level and we're done. That our job is over. We finished. Yep. We did what we're supposed to, and our table did our job. So everyone that goes home from that table knows that we did the best we could to make sure every person that came to our table and got a ballot from us did it legally. They got one vote, and their vote mattered because we counted it and we did it that way. And if every table did the same thing, then everyone that voted in that area had a legal vote. And it mattered, and it added to our state's numbers. So all you can do is what's in your area, in your table, in your little, county or wherever it is, or your parish, depending on where you're at. But if everybody did that in every single state, you would have elections that were fraud-free, basically. But I don't know. I just wish that people cared enough to do what they had to have a butt in a seat. I really do. I wish we could do that. That's what I pray for.
I think you hit the nail on the head. If you want to stop this, you have to be proactive, not reactive.
Mm-hmm. It's too late after.
It's too late after. So if you want to fix this, volunteer, get out there, work at a polling place. You have it absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
And it's part of the system. You're working with the system and saying, yes, I want to make this system work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the people who are, we're going to need this, or we're going to have to do that, or the second civil whatever. No, if anything ever like that ever happened, it would be so bad that it would take years for this government to screw things up to be the equivalent of that. That in 6 months or less would mean empty store shelves, crazy stuff happening on highways. Highways would become Mad Max territory. You don't want to go there.
Mm-mm.
No.
You just don't. It
You have no
doesn't
idea what's
matter
going
who would win, because once you start that, a lot of people are going to lose. They're going to lose everything they have. They're going to lose their families. They're going to lose their homes. There's going to be terrible things happening. So, to the
Mhm.
people who say, I'm black pilled, there's nothing we can do. It doesn't matter whether you vote. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? The alternative is so much worse than what you've described so far. That's not like you flip the switch and go do that. That's not a good idea.
But
Yeah,
when
I wanna-
somebody tells me they're black pilled and that then there's not voting doesn't work, I ask them this: have you ever worked the polls? And they all say
Good.
no. And I'm say, well, until you work the polls, you can't say that there's nothing you can do and that it doesn't matter, because it does matter. If you work
Agreed.
the polls, you know what's going on. That's why I sat there and watched these videos coming out, and I was like, how did that person get away with that? How did they get away with bringing in a van full of ballots after everybody, and why anybody left? Why was anyone allowed to leave the polling station until the votes were counted? That's what we're told. When we were sworn in, we were told that we couldn't leave until the ballots were counted. That, if you don't want to do this job, it could take this long. If you don't want to do it, you can have breaks. We'll let you go. We'll let you eat. We'll let you this. And if someone has to bring food or we have to order food to be delivered because we're here way over the hours amount, we will. This is what we were told. So we brought lunches and snacks. We brought apples and fruit, and we were sharing snacks with each other. I brought my crocheting. I sat there and I crocheted. I made like 3 hats for people, and I gave them away because it took a long time. I mean, it took a long time to sit there and count ballots and wait for all the other tables to count, because my table I was at only had a certain amount of people. Well, that table over there might have 3,000 more people in it than mine. See, so you still have to stay because you can't leave until everyone's finished, because we're basically, you got to sit a butt in a chair until all the votes are counted. So people getting up and leaving and just letting other people bring in boxes and ballots out from under the table and stuff, I was just shocked, because to me, that told me there was cheating. I've worked the polls, and that shit don't happen. At least not anywhere that's legal. So I couldn't believe it. But so many people have never done it. Oh, well, I don't want to register to vote, or I don't want to do this because I don't want to serve jury duty, And I said, hey, you can get out of jury duty real easy. You just say, I will hang the fucker, and guess what? You will get picked. That's all you got to do. They will never.
3 of my cousins are career police officers. I say he's guilty. You're out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying it was so easy to get out of it, but people they'll say anything to not have to do something because they don't want to do it.
Yes.
So.
Well, Janet, I really appreciate the invite. This has been a lot of fun, but I'm afraid I need to bow out at this point.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming and joining us for a little over an hour. We really appreciate it, and I hope you maybe want to join us again sometime.
Oh, we would definitely be a possibility on Fridays. We'll see. I just need to figure out what my schedule is going to be on Friday. Fridays are my craziest day. I've got more things going on YouTube on Friday than any other day of the week. So I will see where I can do it and when I can do it. And if I'm invited, that'll be wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Everybody have a great evening. Ruben, Bruce, nice talking with you.
Good seeing you, bud.
Bye.
Let's talk soon.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Yeah, he's great. And he was very, very informative.
That's
he always brings the rain. He's nice.
But that's the whole idea. I would love to do a show with everybody here that's daily, that like on the realm of like an InfoWars stuff, and start like investigative journalism, get things out there, start policy, start making a difference, because it has to be grassroots. And again, that's because I'm done. I think I can tell everybody out there, yourselves, did your stress level or just anger with the world escalate at 2020? and how like wires or what is sleep. For me, it did. Like again, we always say, I thought I was alone, but I'm not. We have we have each other. It's time to stand up and say no more and be good people and say no. It's not about hate.
Mhm.
It's about freedom. It's not, and
I
again,
got
there's so many.
upset. I got upset that night. You know what I mean? When I saw how things were going, I was really upset. But I actually believed that when it came to the electoral college votes and everything in January, that it was going to get fixed. You know, and then I heard all the people talking about
I
how
thought
they
so
were
too.
working on
I
this and
really
that.
thought so too. Yeah, I thought so too.
So I didn't really get really pissed off until it got accepted. When the votes got accepted, I
No,
was like, how in the hell
I
with
said
everything
this.
that's come out?
That was the black pill moment for me. That was black pill moment.
That's when I went down in my spiral.
My no, I'm serious. That's that day, my whole all of human history just changed.
Mhm.
I look at
Yeah.
everything now differently, and it's frightening now. I really know what's going on, and unfortunately, the other side that people talk about is also a fraud. So it's a gladiator pit that it's bread and circuses. These are the gladiators. And again, we have to be influencers now. That's the bottom line. But it gets influencers of the nuclear family, good values, how to take care of yourself, men being men, women being women, lifting up your brothers and sisters, helping each other out. And again, you're not oppressed. Change your life, stand up. That's what I'm doing. And it's and start a fitness channel or something like that to have people start to do stuff, work out, get out there, do things. And you see what they've done slowly over time. There are reports. I saw a video recently. It's been confirmed that they are purposely setting up food to have sugar and add sugar in it. And what they do is ever since the last 100 years, they slowly increase the amount of sugar in all foods to get you addicted, keeping you addicted. And it's documented. This is proof that the food manufacturers have been doing this. Planned obsolescence.
It's the same thing. It's one of the reasons because, you know, I'm very health conscious. I try to get people to eat at least salads and less huge amounts of red meat, you know, try to add fish and chicken and pork and different balances to their diet because there's nothing wrong with beef. I love steak, but you can't eat it every single day. It's just not healthy. You should eat a balanced diet, just like what your grandma used to tell you when you were a kid. Eat all your vegetables, eat this, eat that, because a good square meal is good for you. It's healthier. Your body burns the calories better because it's an equal portions amounts of calories, and good calories and bad calories. There's difference in all that. But the thing is that it's up to us individually as we get older to say, well, you know, I really need to stop eating so much takeout, or I need to stop drinking so much soda pop. You know, we are the ones that have to do it. And when they give you all this food that has tons of sugar in it, it gives you a mini high, you know, because of the sugar. You know, like all the kids' mom would say, well, it's Halloween. You can have this much candy tonight out of your bag. And then you're only allowed to have a couple pieces a week after that because you got to go to school. You got this, that, and the other. And how can you go to sleep when you just ate, you know, a giant bowl of candy? You're so hyped up from all the sugar, and then you crash. You know, you're on this high, and you're like running around like crazy, you know, like a wind-up toy, and then you just bottom out and you just collapse somewhere because your sugar rush went away. But it's the same thing. So if you put sugar in everything, or pretty much everything that's targeted at you to eat, not an apple, because that's a natural sugar. Okay, they're putting the sugar into you that causes you to crave more of it later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they're also the bioengineering they've done, not just of recently, but throughout mankind, has
Mhm.
actually, and they has documented that it's actually decreased the nutrition levels of foods. So then if they're
Mhm.
doing that, if they're doing that intentionally, then we have to have medications, chemicals,
Mhm.
supplements, and that's the
Mhm.
cycle. And I actually think the whole I mentioned this before, the whole like subplot of Batman 1989 when the Joker was going to basically poison certain chemicals and the certain reactions would cause certain things to happen. That's what's happening
Mhm.
now with, I'm not a doctor, but some conditions for kids, how how they're not attentive anymore. And again, it's all about what they're doing, what they're injecting, what they're giving you to feed. And the whole idea, it's all about more consume, like what's the idea that I bet, like, if you want to have chicken, be very careful because I would say 95% chicken is GMO, is engineered to grow up really fast and it's full of hormones. Okay.
Mhm.
That's why you want grass fed because they're different chickens or a different game. And that's why you
Mhm.
need to learn how to hunt, do stuff. But that's the whole thing. You just gotta,
Yep.
it's the time is now. It's like be prepared. That's
Yeah,
why
you're
I'm
right about the chickens because a lot of towns that have Tyson or Pilgrims and things like that, and
yes.
you'll see stray chickens here and there on the side of the road because when they're emptying the truck, okay, they have people that pop the lid and dump the chickens into the thing for the little conveyor belt to go by, and they grab them and they hang them on the thing to go through the whole processing part, right? Well, some of those chickens get loose and then they roam around and then they'll be running around and eating and whatever else. But so I had some people give me a couple of these white Pilgrim's Pride chickens when they were, I guess, like 6 to 8 weeks old or whatever. Well, I had them for a few months and it wasn't even that hot because this was like later in the fall time. So it was already starting to get cool during the day.
Oh,
Well, these chickens were eating, they sit by the bowl. This is all they would do is sit by the bowl and just eat, eat, eat. That's all they did because they're bred to be that way, to put the pounds on quickly. Well, guess what? Every one of them died. They all died from a heart attack when they were like 11 weeks
Exactly.
old because they're not, their hearts and everything are not meant for long lives. They're made
Imagine that. Imagine
process.
how
Yeah.
prevalent heart disease
So,
is now.
yep.
Imagine that.
Think
So I'm
about it.
saying that's what, again, I'm not being, here's the thing. Yes, I've been black pilled, but I have
Mhm.
hope because I know the truth now. That's why I want to find a place to go and have our own chickens and have our own life
Yeah,
and then
see,
start
I
over
raised my
now.
chicks. I raised
Oh,
all my chickens from baby chicks. Okay, so I know what they ate. I know
oh,
what,
nice.
and they got exercise. They had plenty of fresh water. They had real bugs and grass to eat, stuff like that. And now I have healthy chickens. Well, except for the ones that got, killed by that dog, whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you have a hand in it, like what you're growing in your garden or your greenhouse, you're raising your own chickens, you're eating the eggs from your chickens, and you know what the chickens are eating. Just like that whole time that last year when people were saying, my chickens haven't laid for 3 months. Are yours still laying? And I'm like, yeah, I haven't had any stop in my egg production because my chicken's free ranged and I supplement them with leftovers from my kitchen refrigerator and things like that. Or we'd go to a restaurant and I'd bring home the rice or the bread or whatever that was left over from the meal and I feed it to my chickens. So they were eating well and they weren't just eating whatever food that they shipped in from China or wherever, right? So I don't know what they were doing. They were manipulating something because they wanted egg production not to be very good in our country for some reason. So I think a lot of that goes hand in hand if you're not 100% knowing what you're eating. Just like you said, you don't know exactly what's in that chicken or that beef or anything anymore when you get it
Right.
at the grocery store. And this whole thing with COVID, how many businesses went belly up? Well, guess what? The businesses like Walmart didn't go because they never closed. They stayed open all the time. And it was
Right.
funny how
Right.
your church closed, but you could still go to the strip bar or you could still go to the liquor store. Think about it. I mean, honestly, to me, if your church closed, you shouldn't be going to that church anymore. You know,
And it's so funny that when in 2020 or it was voted in 2019 or whatever, for 2020 would be in Illinois, cannabis became recreational and legal. So what a coincidence that January 1st, yet not but 3 months later, a lot of people basically for the first time took it up because of the stress of the pandemic. So imagine, again, introduce something new and it gets out there. It's so fascinating.
Yeah,
You know,
it is interesting, isn't it?
Makes you think.
But see, it's different. Even us on this platform, okay, you and I are using this to share what we feel is going on with what we see as evidence and try to talk about what we have as evidence and share it. What does it mean? You know, what does it mean? To get people to think about it. But even what we are saying right now is being censored because they can even say, well, we'll change the algorithm on that channel so that they don't get very many views because we don't want their point of view out there, you see? So we can't even say what we believe or even try to show facts because the company that we're trying to do it through doesn't want us to do it. So they're going to do what they have to do to stop what we're saying from getting out to enough people. So the only way to get more people to see it is that more people like you and I bombard this platform and that platform and that platform and get the word out as much as we can. That's the only way we can do it. And the only way to do that is for us to believe in ourselves and believe in getting the truth out enough that we don't give up. That's all we have. You know,
and on the other side is that, again, the idea like if you basically say I have this great canning recipe that you can use, or I have these, here's how I prepare my eggs, or here's how I take care of my chickens, what I get, the feed I give them, how I recycle or repurpose my cuttings and do composting. That's what we have to start doing. It's all about now. It's counter programming to what's going on, basically. And because again, they were just the innocent little McDonald's video in Japan got everyone saying it's offensive to everybody else because they're all white, and going, what is this from Japan? That's what that's what we're fighting against now. We're fighting against now just the idea, if I say something that you don't believe in, me just saying it for me offends you enough to want me shut up and not even silence completely. That is fascism, totalitarianism. That's dystopianism. It's crazy.
Yeah, the whole thing about the chickens and stuff is what's funny is I tell people, they'll go, I'm thinking I want chickens. And I'm like, well, you need to sign up for backyardchickens.com. And I'm like, no, I'm not I don't get paid for sharing it, but there's over 1 million people on it. And they are all people like me that share things that they do with their chickens in their backyard. You know, they're small little flocks that's work for them. Like I learned that if you take dryer sheets, and I buy the cheap ones like at the Dollar Tree, and you rub it on your chicken's face and stuff, that it'll keep the gnats from covering up their noses and stuff or getting on them so much where they can't breathe, you know. And then I also put them in their nesting box because it does help repel mites. So I've learned a lot of things, not just because I read about it or I had a professional farmers tell me it. I've been reading about what other people like me that's raised chickens to adulthood or whatever, and they're collecting eggs and stuff now. And the whole thing about getting Bantams to hatch eggs out for me so that I can keep my flock at a certain size, because pretty much the bigger chickens don't breed as want to raise babies themselves anymore because it's pretty much been bred out of them. When you raise certain generations of chickens in a chicken house and all they do is they stay in a little cage and they're like plop, plop, plop every day, one egg, right? And you have a rooster in there, that's to collect eggs to go to the hatchery so that the eggs are fertile. So they're hatching out some more of the eggs to take our chickens to take over when these stop laying. So the whole thing's a big process, but that's what, that's how I've learned the little bit that I do know. Sorry, I'm getting it.
No, that's
Scratchy.
fine.
Get some water.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna get me a drink.
Get the drink now. This portion of the shit show is brought to you by water. Water, drink your water. It's very important. Keeps you hydrated. That's what I did today. When I made my food today, I basically used steak and I turned on a low setting so that all of the natural water within the beef, it was about 2 pounds of beef for stews, just saturated it. And then I put in I have like a beef fat separate that I keep, I keep recycling, to utilize. It's good for you. And then vegetables, I put beets, vegetables, tomatoes, bell peppers. I mean, it was a hearty stew, and that's my meal. I eat once a day now, and I the heavy in protein. I switch over like between pork, beef, and fish, and I do variations of it. And for like a little bulk, I put in like some spinach to make it more creamier, and spin it up so it's gonna be good and healthy. And it's again the one thing is apple cider vinegar. Get that in there. It's good for your health, gut health, and all that stuff. It's been working, so that's what I like about it.
Yeah, I this sounds funny, but like once a week, if I have to go get bread or milk or some more grapes or whatever, I usually get a rotisserie chicken. Okay, and then I make one big salad a week, and I put celery, radishes, whatever in it, and then I start picking off the rotisserie chicken and I add it to my salad, or I make a chicken sandwich or make chicken salad sandwich, or just eat chicken with some vegetables or a baked potato or whatever. And then by the end of the week, after 4 days, basically I have pretty much just bones with meat on it, some meat here and there. And then I boil that and make a chicken soup or chicken and dumplings. So I use that because it's just me and my daughter. So it's like you can go a long ways with one chicken, but it's good.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I do the same thing. I'll get it. That's what I'll do. But I'll make it me more funny. Get the vegetables, put them in this pot, stew it up, make it all liquid, and then just drop the freaking rotisserie chicken right inside the soup.
Mm-hmm.
And then
and
just
it's
leave
got
it there.
all that yummy juice at the bottom. It's like all gelled up. I put that in there to it, and it's so good. It's delicious. But I'm always trying to come up with something I can do. But I love chicken and dumplings, and I love chili. Those are two things that I really love.
Same.
And
Likewise.
one thing I really miss is I haven't had a venison in a while. So whenever I hear of one of my friends or whatever saying, "Hey, I got a deer," I'm like, "Can I get a little meat from you? I'll make you some jerky. I'll trade it out." But venison chili is really, really good. If you guys have never had it, if you've ever make it, you look up a recipe or whatever, and it's just delicious. So don't knock it till you try it. Same thing as always.
Have you seen that channel, Cowboy Cooking?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God! There's this
You
guy.
have to send me the link because I bet there's some good recipes.
He did a show on. They did expose on the guy for 60 Minutes years ago, and it's an old dude basically. And what he does is he has a real authentic chuck wagon. He does it. He married a very young, attractive woman. So he basically goes around and tells people how to cook for yourselves and country cooking, really quickly, like on the prairie. It's just like beautiful. Yeah, I gotta look it up. But again, it's a positive story, and that gives me like hope of I want to do that. I want to be out and have a good time and relax.
Yeah, I wanted to answer him on this. I call it chicken and dumplings, but it's really chicken noodles because you make your own noodles. Basically, you roll them out and flour them up and everything, and then you cut them up and you put them in there. But I don't cut them as noodles. I cut them in little squares. So I call it chicken dumplings, but it's basically the same thing.
I do have a kind of happy story.
Oh, you do? Good. We need some happiness.
Well, Well, I mean, it's not happy for the
Oh.
guy, but it's happy for me.
Hmm.
Bruce, what are you talking about? Okay, I want to take you back. We're going back in time to the Kyle Rittenhouse case.
Hmm.
And this is so this is so delicious. Go ahead and share that, Janet.
Okay, here we go.
So propagandists will say, Bruce, you're reading from the Gateway Pundit. That's basically your perfect newspaper, you fucking right-winger. So the man who pulled a gun on Kyle Rittenhouse gets hit by car. September 22nd, 2023, 2:40 p.m. That's 14:40 for you. DDP 14 people. Okay.
What was he doing in the road?
This story has some good points to it. So let me read this.
Oh, okay,
They've
go ahead.
reported that Gage Grosskreutz has now changed his name legally to Paul Prediger, was hit by a car in Milwaukee. Grosskreutz made national headlines after he was shot in the bicep by Kyle Rittenhouse after he pointed a gun at Rittenhouse during the BLM riots in Kenosha. This looks like a great photo here, almost an action shot, because that looks like a splatter there, but I don't want to say that. But it could be a splatter. Like I said, it's a
I watched that video many times.
This is a happy story. In this report, the Kenosha County I shared that Grosskreutz suffered a lacerated liver and several broken bones after he was hit by a car while walking on a crosswalk in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The driver who allegedly hit Grosskreutz was later arrested and identified as Marvin Thomas, who is now facing 2 felony charges related to the hit and run.
Is it on camera of him getting hit?
I don't think it is.
The one below it, one below? That one?
Over this man crossing Warren Avenue.
And then was dragged under and stuck underneath the vehicle for a good 20 feet.
He didn't want us to use his name, but the victim did talk to 12 News after being released from the hospital. He suffered a lacerated liver and multiple broken bones.
Jesus.
That's happy. That's a happy story.
That was the guy?
That was the guy that tried shooting our friend, Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse.
But they don't have the video of him getting hit.
No, they don't. I hope the car's okay.
Well, I think that I guarantee there's on video. It's just that they're not showing anymore.
They're not going to show it because it makes one of their prized priests of their of their synagogue look like, you know, the dirtbag he is. The criminal. Here's the Kenosha County Eye. I might have to subscribe to these people. The criminal Paul Prediger, formerly known as Gage Grosskreutz, chastised Kenosha County Eye for reporting first that he secretly asked a judge to change his name. Grosskreutz is known for being the man who pointed a gun at then minor 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse, a medic, during the riots of 2020, and was shot for this. Rittenhouse was acquitted of any wrongdoing for shooting the career criminal.
I love that.
Although the Grosskreutz would have us believe that he is in fear for his life, he couldn't help himself when he decided to go on WISN 12 ABC News to talk about being run over. According to WISN 12, Grosskreutz suffered a lacerated liver and multiple broken bones. He's trying to raise money on GoFundMe. So they interviewed Grosskreutz after the accident, but he asked not to be identified, but his voice was quickly matched up by various users on X.
Yep.
Was dragged under and stuck underneath the vehicle for a good 20 feet.
He didn't want us to use his name, but the victim did talk to 12 News after being released from the hospital.
Oh, hold on.
pull over this man crossing Warren Avenue.
The one on top of the hood, and then was dragged under. And
How do you go from the top of the hood to being dragged under the? You are very, very, very poor at riding cars, sir.
Writing.
at least one thing I can right to allow you after just having murdered to do 9/11, somebody's point right to allow you a million things about to.
I love this. Thank you, Janet, for allowing me this moment of joy.
Well, you're welcome. I think it's you know, karma. That's what happened.
And if you want, I can read. I can read. I can read this Kenosha County Eye article because I have it right here.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Did you just say it was karma? Just kidding.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
karma. You did great. That's a good one, Ruben.
love that.
Yeah,
For our
that's. I mean,
chat, I can read
awesome.
this.
I mean,
Here, Mortal Coil.
we don't get that enough.
No, we don't.
No. We don't
Um,
we don't get to see karma very often.
No, we don't. Okay, so let me go to the Kenosha County Eye. Look, if you have an office in Kenosha and would like to have it be located somewhere for $350 a month, text or call. There you go, guys. I did your call out. Give me my money. Kyle Rittenhouse attacker Gage Grosskreutz hit by car in Milwaukee. His new name is revealed in the video. Paul Pritter, formerly known
It
as
almost
Gage
looks like
Grosskreutz.
Predator.
He does. It does look like Predator. It does. Being run over by Marvin Thomas, Milwaukee police. The criminal, Paul Prediger, formerly known as Gage Grosskreutz, chastised Kenosha County Eye for reporting first that he secretly asked a judge to change his name. Grosskreutz is known for being the man who pointed a gun at then minor 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse, a medic, during the riots of 2020 and was shot for it. Rittenhouse was acquitted of any wrongdoing for shooting the career criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Grosskreutz told the judge in Milwaukee that his name change needed to be secret in order to protect himself from far-right people who've been threatening his life. Don't worry, Mr. Predator. Although Grosskreutz would have us believe that he is in fear for his life, he couldn't help himself when he spotted a camera and he decided to go on WISN 12 ABC News to talk about being run over. According to Grosskreutz, he suffered a lacerated liver and multiple broken bones, and he's now trying to raise money on GoFundMe. You can find the link to that in a discarded website that I made. The offender in the alleged hit and run, Marvin Thomas, was charged yesterday with 2 felonies related to the crash. He is holding on a $1,500 cash bail.
That picture was the guy that ran over him.
That's the guy that run over him.
And is that a tattoo under his eye or is that just a mole?
It looks like a mole, not a tattoo.
Okay, because I thought that I was going to say, I thought the teardrop tattoos meant something, but if it's just a mole. Oh, that was him getting run over.
Oh, my.
Holy moly. He did fly up on the hood.
How does he get on the hood first and then... No.
But he flew up on the hood.
Yeah.
Look,
This is
watch.
interesting. Look at that. This guy's over here. Oh,
Yeah, he went up.
He went up. He didn't go under it.
I
See,
didn't
he
see
goes
him
up.
go under. He just
No.
goes up and over the vehicle. Did he drop his dildo?
But the thing is, look at him. Maybe he did go under because when you see the second part, okay, see, you don't see him on the ground. So maybe he's being dragged under the vehicle.
That's great. He
I
couldn't
mean,
have-
that's what
I
it
hope-
looks like.
I hope the SUV is okay. It looks like it
See?
has a bad driver.
He's probably driving his mom's car.
Or carjacking. has taken place. No, my bad.
But
Bruce,
see,
don't
he
say that.
doesn't land on the ground. I don't see him in front of any of those vehicles. I'm trying to look at it really closely. So maybe he did get stuck underneath the vehicle and dragged down the road a little bit.
This is great.
And it
Heck.
doesn't look like the guy even puts on his brakes.
Nope.
And I don't see
Now
red
he
lights
does.
at all.
Now he
This
does.
is what we want to do here is play this video back and to the left. He gets hit. Just kidding. Yeah,
This is
he
great.
is lefty, you know, it went left side. Just kidding.
Okay. I saw him.
I don't see him flying.
Right.
See, he's
Top,
not
that's
on
it.
the
He's on
top.
top. He's on
So-
top. He's on top. He's on top.
He's up
Yeah, I
on
don't-
top of the vehicle, but he's not falling off onto the left by the driver's side. See, he doesn't fall off. So maybe he's either riding on the windshield
Like TJ
or
Hooker.
he went under the vehicle. Yeah, like
Nice
TJ Hooker. That's exactly right.
Oh my.
This is great. Thank you, Paul Predator. Thank you, Paul Predator, for this entertainment I'm getting on a Friday night.
Friday.
Did you see what Snorter Poopus wrote? Wait, look, let me post
No.
this up here. Look, I guess BLM doesn't matter if a black guy runs over a white BLM activist.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. You're
Does that
correct.
add up?
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Sorry, I
Yeah,
shouldn't
that's
laugh. That's bad person. I'm a bad
I really
person.
hope the car is okay.
It looks
Yeah.
like the car is okay.
Yeah.
He did put on the brakes right there when he hits him. So
Once the face hits the windshield and the guy's face twists into a bunch of pain, I'm sure that's when the brakes get put in because he's like, man, get this cracker off my car. I'm positive that was what was going through his mind at the time.
it looks like it.
Shit, man. They crack on my car, man.
Oh
I
shit!
was gonna say it can't be his ass going through his mind because it's just a windshield going through his mind. That's what
Yeah,
it looks like.
this makes me so happy.
Oh, well, I'm glad
Oh,
you're happy.
Gage, thank you for that laugh.
I should do a rendition of Uncle Remus in Song of the South, one man show.
There is some sad news. Rupert
Oh, no.
Murdoch,
Hmm?
at the tender age of 92, is going to retire. He's leaving Fox News.
Oh,
Oh, I heard that. He's handing it over to his son, right?
He's tired of selecting from a bevy of blonde-haired newscasters to take home every Friday night, and he's going to go home and probably just use Craigslist. But his son, Lachlan Murdoch, is strong enough to go in for his daddy and do the job. This is all about Lachlan Murdoch. He is an anti-Trump, anti-conservative man, and he kind of has left out his comments for people to read. But
Did you get to read this? I'm sorry. I wish I'd done it a second ago.
that's funny.
it's
that's funny.
okay. This is a garbage article, but
I
it's
know, but it
basically-
says I'm just literally shaking at the obvious far right MAGA supporter who ran him over.
Oh,
So,
I
so
love
he basically yelled out, "This
Yeah, I
is never
had
country,
to,
brother."
I had to share that for you to see because that's a really good post from someone in our chat. It was named Gay Biker Dad.
Hey, Gay Biker Dad, how you doing?
Yeah. So thank you. That was funny. I liked it. It was enjoyable to read.
Well, anyway, Lachlan Murdoch is the reason why Tucker is now on X.
Hmm.
Taking that split second there. Future movie for a Monday night.
Oh my!
But this is a
Oh, that's
wonderful-
right. He was on that channel, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. I was just thinking
What's
about
going on
Halloween
there,
right
Ruben?
now. I was just thinking about Halloween and thinking about what Janet's gonna wear for Halloween.
Yeah, that's you want to tell them what movie we're going to review on? Is it the 30th, right?
Yep.
The night
We are
before Halloween.
We're reviewing a movie called Fright Night on the 30th of October.
Oh, nice! I love
Yeah,
that movie.
so I'm gonna get to
Yeah,
dress up
that's-
as Fright Night theme. It's gonna be
Oh
fun.
my! Please.
I really
Please,
love this. This is.
Sorry.
Oh, they even have his criminal history. Click.
They do? That's amazing.
I love this paper.
Yeah, you
Kenosha
need to
I.
send me the
How-
link
I'm gonna
and
drop
share
it.
the link in the chat for anyone who's interested in checking out this
Yeah.
paper, since they're so good at writing good articles.
Yeah, they are really good. A criminal history check on Gage Grosskreutz, also known as Paul Predator. He
And
was the
how
third-
old is this guy?
I don't know. He was
I wonder.
allegedly the third man shot by Kyle. Allegedly, the third man shot by Kyle Rittenhouse. The leftist media is quick to make him out to be an angel. Here's an objective look at his criminal history. The Wisconsin criminal justice system leaves a lot of ambiguity as far as conviction info, so we've attached the official Wisconsin Department of Justice records on Gage. We make no assertions on what he has and has not been convicted of. Oh my, we are going to his criminal history.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I am downloading a big PDF.
Uh-oh.
Imagine that. Repeat offender?
I know. It's almost like he was trained to be a criminal.
That's white supremacy. I'm sorry.
Or
He's
maybe
white.
he was paid to be a criminal, like one of those ones that can smash and grab and not get
That-
arrested.
Yeah, that's yeah.
One of those people.
All right. So in 2010, November 17th, he did a simple assault and domestic violence. He allegedly slapped his own grandmother and smashed a lamp.
Jesus Christ.
In May 27th of 2012, in New Berlin, he burgled a home and criminal trespass to a dwelling, disorderly conduct. Alleged to have entered home and stole video game equipment and broke the lights. Criminal damage to property on May 27th, 2013. That is a year. He celebrated that 1 year apart.
Are you
Mhm.
kidding?
Alleged to have smashed window of house, smashed window of house where girlfriend was and threatened her. This is
Oh, so
obviously
they're both related. No, they're not related.
Well,
Shit.
what a
not
lucky
related.
guy. Even though he had a criminal history, he had a good-looking woman.
oh yeah,
Girlfriend.
Yes, that's depressing right there.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Amazing.
May 9th. He really likes doing shit in May. That must be when it warms up in Kenosha. It's warm enough for crime.
I
Brings up
guess.
police. He gets a DUI, possession of firearm by felon,
Jesus Christ.
possession of firearm while intoxicated, and endangering the safety of use of dangerous weapon, and warrants for his arrest. He blew a 0.159er while driving possessed loaded
Is
firearm.
that high?
That's almost double. For
Yeah.
Wisconsin, that's like a half of what
0.08
normal
is
blood
drunk.
alcohol is. But
So it's 0.16 would be double. So it's almost double.
at 0.08 is the legal limit down here. But
Wait, I gotta share something again.
uh-oh.
Storm Poopus is on a roll tonight. Fry the granny smacking bastard.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Storm Poopus.
I love
you.
Sornipoopus too. He is an amazing polar bear.
He sure is. He's
Don't
smart.
beat the snake.
He's
On
not the
11th
average bear.
And as you know, that all polar bears are carnivores.
Yes. On the 4th of November 2019, Ashland police made a report for he was making loud noise and disobedient, being disobedient to officers. He's had loud music and refused to provide police with his ID. And then on the 16th of August 2020, he was prowling. He videotaped a personal police officer vehicles in a parking lot.
Damn.
And so they got a background check for conviction info. Okay. Oh my. What is this that I have?
Simple assault.
This is from him beating on his grandmother. Sent to the residence of apartment 2. On report, the grandson getting into a physical altercation with his grandmother. Upon arrival to the residence, officers made contact with caller victim Janice Grosskreutz. Female, white, 16th of May, 51. That's my mom's age, by the way. Not that month and day, but she's born 51. Her 17-year-old piece of shit grandson, Gage P. Grosskreutz, male, white, 4th of November, 93. Wow, he's a young shit. I was already in the service when he was walked out of into this world. He got into a argument with another, and during the argument, he swings a lamp into the living room wall, damaging the lamp and the wall, and struck her across the face with an open hand, causing her pain. Gage was later arrested for criminal damage, domestic violence, and disorderly conduct, 2 counts of domestic violence. Gage was able to post bail and ordered down to court on the 19th of November at 8:30 in the morning, far, far more early than what he wants to be awake. The DA charging conference. I'm going to stop reading this because this is probably most exciting of all the calls, but this guy is a piece of shit, as anybody could see. And if anybody has any sympathy for Grosskreutz,
Look at this. Look at this. We used to have women come into a library I worked in. They checked the local prison release list looking for potential boyfriends.
Oh my God.
Why? I mean, what happened? I mean, I always looked for a guy that, wasn't a criminal, that actually had a job or, potential boyfriend, you know what I mean? I don't understand. I don't understand why anybody would do that.
Wow. So anyway, Grosskreutz had a concealed carry permit which expired. I don't know why they gave him a concealed carry permit because he's a felon, but he's trying to assert now that he's in danger.
What state was that? Illinois?
That's Wisconsin.
I swear he's an informant secretly. That's why. And we're not.
He's assuming that he's in danger, and so they reached out. The Kenosha County I reached out to his attorney, Kimberly Motley, a person who defends pieces of shit, who threatened to have the author arrested and sued for writing the article for the Kenosha County I. Can you imagine that? Like, just for that posting publicly available knowledge, how dare you? They're going to try to arrest this guy. No. And that's why I really enjoyed watching the repeat footage of him getting hit by the SUV. And at one point, you can hear the black man exclaim, "God damn it, I got me a cracker."
You know what's so weird? I'm just having a flash vision.
Oh my God, you're making me laugh.
Someone saying in a very tone somewhere in the cosmos or for regarding this, but no, seriously, regarding this, it's like, get rid of the witnesses, get rid of them. Again, they put the things are being put into motion to cause things to happen.
Definitely.
Very, very strange world we live.
But I am very, very thankful that we still have newspapers like that's willing to put real facts in an article. That is something you just don't see very often. Even in Texas, one of the number one most making money, I guess you call it, newspapers in the state of Texas is a liberal rag.
Which one?
I can't remember, the Dallas Herald or whatever it is.
Probably.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I try not to pay much attention outside of San Antonio. There's too much drama down here for me to.
Well, when I go visit relatives and they live near South Fork Ranch, they have property there. And every time I get the paper that's delivered, I think that's what it was called, or Plano something or whatever. I can't remember. It's outside of Plano where they live. And it's just nothing but, you can see everything is woke everywhere. And I'm like, this is a Dallas, Texas or near Dallas, Texas newspaper. And then people are trying to tell me that Texas is not blue. I'm like, well,
not blue, but we're really fucking purple.
Yeah, it's really purple. It's scary because it's sad though. If you really go to every state in the United States and you look at the cities, just the cities in every state, they're pretty much all Democrat run. Every city.
One of them.
So and that's what they've done. That's very strategic if you think about it, to invade every single state through the cities to take them over that way.
Mhm.
Well,
Because without once they have the electoral college in their back pocket, they don't have to cheat anymore.
but until then, they have to cheat.
Mhm.
Um, let's focus on Texas for a moment.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is a story that I really don't want to cover, but everybody's been talking about it, and since I'm 2 hours away from the border and 3-4 hours away from parts of Houston,
Hmm.
the American Conservative, an alien haven in Southeast Texas, a
Mhm.
politically connected real estate agent firm seems to be tied to a local boom of undocumented immigrants. All right, about 50 miles northeast of Houston, where our friend Bush lives, but not here in this shithole, is headquartered a land development company called Colony Ridge. Colony Ridge, remember that, kids, Colony Ridge. See that on the sign? Run away. According to Liberty County Sheriff's Office, Colony Ridge has about 22,000 residents, and evidence suggests it serves as a landing ground for people who have entered the country illegally. Colony Ridge is owned by the Harris family, which rejects the notion that their developments cater to illegal immigrants. Brent Lane, the attorney representing Colony Ridge, said in an email, "It has nothing in its advertisements that targets a person without legal status to be in the United States. Colony Ridge does have a large percentage of Latinos living and buying property in their subdivision. Colony Ridge is a for-profit company and seeks to maximize shareholder wealth, which is a stated duty of all for-profit companies. It is true that the Houston area has a huge shortage of affordable housing. Colony Ridge has found the Latino community is underserved in regards to affordable housing. The company does use Spanish language ads as part of the marketing efforts, but there is nothing in those advertisements that targets a person without legal status." Company line. Trey Harris, owner and public face of Colony Ridge, concurred, saying in an email that most Colony Ridge customers are born in Texas and U.S. citizens. However, Maria Acevedo, who owns property inside Colony Ridge, claims that as many as 75% of the residents are in the country illegally. Leanne Walker is a former mayor of Plum Grove, Texas. Plum Grove, Texas, a town of fewer than 1,000 citizens that borders Colony Ridge properties. She was less delicate. "You know how I know they are illegal? Because they are looking over the steering wheel. They drive 35 and a 55, and they speak no English. Some definitely are. Even according to Lane, Colony Ridge does not control who lives in the subdivisions. I assume that there are some people who live in Colony Ridge developments that do not have legal documentation in the United States. However, a large percentage of Houston area is populated with individuals that do not have legal status to be in the United States. The problem is much larger than the Colony Ridge. So they provide home loans that can be executed without usual documentation, which caters to illegal immigrants. The
Oh my
deals are-
God. Ninja loans again? Shit. Or actually, what the fuck?
What's going on?
What are they doing? What are they doing?
You see
Sorry.
this? The deals are financed with
And
rates
they're
as
also
high as
giving,
13.
and they're also like giving them IDs to just, hey, here's you come. We'll tell you about court date, whatever. And it's
Yeah.
retarded. It's just dumb.
Yeah, this
They're-
is why we're
Because they're squeezing
losing the state.
squeezing the middle class. They squeeze the middle class. A lot of these people in the market, they give and people have to need to get stuff done, and they're going to pay the lowest wage. And these people will work for anything to have something, and then we won't be able to work. It's insane.
So it's all backed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Yep.
And they're under high ass interest rates. The average rate here is like 4 to 7%. But nothing in this is supposed
Predatory
to be
lending all over again. Jesus
They're
Christ.
saying that it's not predatory lending, but they only advertise in Spanish serving areas, Spanish reading areas. They don't offer adjustable rate loans or balloon or interest only loans with prepayment penalties. They're property licensed and conform with all mortgage laws of the U.S. and Texas. But they
and Jesus, and the scenario there is basically get them higher interest rate. Then they can't pay, but then the
Mhm.
government's going to swoop in and say, okay, you can stay, but then you're going to be a renter to the house. Now we'll have BlackRock own it.
Yeah.
Bing. That's it. That's it. It's like the reverse of Maui. Burn it all down and then buy up the land. This is basically we have the land. We'll just build these houses.
Or the people that couldn't afford to pay have to owe money to the cartel and do what they're told.
Exactly.
Yeah, the majority of places
I think that's part of the giving.
to,
Yes.
this is advertised over in Sinaloa area and
Yeah.
over in Monterey. So you have all these people coming in, and it's like they started seeing it really happen in 2020. They produced a white paper, Broken Border, Local Impact, Liberty County, Texas. And local Cleveland Independent School District was seeing an explosion of students, mainly Spanish speakers, resulting from the development. That was when they started getting over, 10, 20% of the right now 75,000 homes.
Mhm.
And so they've registered negligible growth. Now it's grappling with jam-packed roads in mornings and afternoons
Mhm.
around the
Now,
districts.
yeah, because I'm just saying the key. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go.
I was just saying the key to all this, very simply, is the missing ingredient. Again, they wanted the blacks to be broken families. They wanted whites to be poor, but then they had the system is built up. They sent our best to war to die. Everything is being created to keep you compliant, down, depressed, that you need the medication. And you see TV. I'm back at the gym again, and I look at the TV's there, and I take my glasses off completely. I want to see it because everything is a commercial. It's about this new product that you need. It's consume. It's the they live thing. It's basically that's all you're being fed to. It's just you are being fed to the matrix, fed to everything. You're a data point, and they want to just control everything that you do and influence you, your family, your children to be conformist. It's basically neo-traditionalists. The silent generation that back again through all this stuff were just quiet. They were compliant. And that's where all out of there came with all the anarchy, the bombings, the Bolsheviks and all that stuff, precursors to World War I, and the banking crisis. The Roaring '20s. You had people like partying like they do into them, like Met Gala stuff. And you had the poor, the shanty towns also. They were popping up. It's happening again. It's repeating, and again we have to stand up and say no more. But be careful not to go the other way and like do a prohibition thing or whatever, or put locks downs on speech and all that stuff. We can't do that either. There has to be a happy medium, but more people have to get involved immediately. I'm going to do it.
And also, I wanted to add one thing. It seems to me that like especially in California, I don't really know the other states that I'm sure it's happened to, is that they get overrun by all this, and it runs out all the big businesses and big hotels and other big industry that's there because of the homelessness, the crime, and all that. And then what do? They come to the rest of the country and beg for a bailout. The same thing with the car industry. Remember what wasn't that Detroit or somewhere? And then we bail them out. We bailed out Solinda or whatever the name of that company was.
Burisma, Solinda.
All these places. And then they just do the same damn shit over and over again. But we're about to be bankrupt from the inside out.
California is going to back give the artists and the filmmakers money. It's stupid. It's dumb.
Well,
but we're running out of other people's money now, which is our money, the taxpayer.
This is interesting. Since 2015, they've approved over $300 million in bonds issued to finance the construction of 3 new elementary schools, new middle school, expansion of district high school, multiple portable classrooms, new administrative offices, and approval of the last 198 million school bond in November 2019 was by a narrow margin of 720 to 613 against. Okay. Also, now this is a kind of a left-wing paper, the Current Revolt, but they did air the connection between William Harris, the main stakeholder in Colony Ridge, and he makes a $300,000 yearly contribution to Greg Abbott's political campaign since 2018. He's a primary stakeholder in Colony Ridge. So they profit off illegal aliens. They intend to maintain successful business by investing in Abbott, who has yet to crack down on illegal border crossings. So right there, you guys see that like we're having a hard time primary in this piece of shit. Governor Wheels out of office, get an extra conservative in there that loves Texas more than his wallet. Texas for Strong Borders says Colony Ridge's success is a side effect of policies that provide illegal aliens with financial incentives and loopholes to retain in the country. They have various loans. ITIN loans are a specific loan type that circumvent the need for a social security number during the application process. It's been exploited by illegal aliens in collusion with the developers, allowing them to evade detection. In Texas, it's time to ban the use of ITNs, and that's what they put on Twitter. Go ahead, Ruben.
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm just got a little headache. I'm good.
I thought you were getting ready to say something.
No, not yet.
And on a related note, 25 Republican governors slammed Biden for failing to secure the border. So we had 7,500 arrests today? 7,500 arrests. What's that mean? Did 7,500 people get bust up to a pokey and get let in, and they've got a stockade fence around them and they can't leave? Or did 7,500 people get processed, put in cuffs, detained, and told to report at a certain time to this jailhouse so they could be heard and then released on recognizance?
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's what happened right there.
Okay.
And they put them up in room and board paid for by us.
You know, the great thing is that like all we have to do in Texas is just send 1% of what we receive daily to places like Chicago or New York City or other shitholes, Los Angeles or DC. My favorite was still Martha's Vineyard, because with like when we dumped a busload of them there, like within 24 hours, you had troops there, reservists are on the ground ready to shoot this guy from not here, and they're getting you got to get back in the bus. We're going to send you back to Texas.
Oh my God.
That's one thing. Why don't we bus all of these people that they as soon as they come over all to sanctuary cities?
Yep, that's what we do. That's what Texas does.
But here's what's so funny:
forcing us to have them remain in Texas now. They're
trying. And are they bitching now? Are they bitching they don't want them anymore in their sanctuary cities?
Yeah. Why do you think I keep mentioning the little diversity hire that can't over there in Chicago, complaining about how we are overloading their cities and city services with illegals?
But that's what they asked for.
Oh,
now do you think that they're going to ask us for a bailout?
Well, that's the whole. Here's what's going to happen. Basically, it's kind of this is the stupidest thing. I guarantee it's going to happen. Sending the people there because that's what they wanted, but then they're going to come up with some kooky law that basically says that California is compliant with its all regulations, DEI, all that stuff, and then Texas is not. So Texas owes a fine, and it'll be paid directly to California. So it's a lose-lose situation. And they're going to basically penalize states that are actually succeeding and saying, well, you're rich and all that stuff, you should have to share the wealth. I'm like, why? The state
again.
I know.
I think it's kind of funny because to get these sanctuary cities that think because they're so far from the border that we won't have to worry about it because we're hardly get anyone that'll make it this far. But then when you have people like, from Texas or Florida or Arizona that said, okay, well, we're going to box these people up and we're going to take them up there and give them to them since they want them. And now they're going to sue them because they're taking people to their sanctuary city. That's bullshit.
You know how California doesn't have a U-Haul truck within like 300 miles of the California border?
Because everybody's moving.
Everybody's moving anywhere else that'll take them. Well, if I was Texas Governor Wheels or Abbott, whatever, if I was wanting to get my base and
Mhm.
get them to reelect me, I would get every plane in America that he could get to land at Bergstrom International Airport or Eagle Pass Airport. That's fine too. Don't bring
Yeah.
me, but get all these jets together and load up these illegals and just start shoving them off to one place, and that's Martha's Vineyard. Fuck you. Fuck your elite. Fuck everything about you. Fuck you. You know, and I would just love to see that. I want to
That would
see
be good.
that would be great because that's how we fucking heard them. They responded quick. That is how we know that's their sensitive spot. I want to see them cry. I want to see them suffer. I haven't seen it yet, and I'm being
No.
denied my joy.
But here's what's so
Mhm.
funny too. Here's the paradox to me. To them, America is a racist, sexist, homophobic, misogynistic country, and we have to change it for what it is, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
if that were true, why in God's green earth are people dying to get here? It
Mhm.
doesn't make
Because it's free
it doesn't make any
stuff.
sense.
Because it's
Because
free stuff.
well, yeah, free stuff. It's because guess what they're offering? They're offering free stuff, and then that's they're coming here, and that's true. Some still, who I've talked to sometimes, are coming here because
Mhm.
the opportunity. They still believe in the American dream. They
Mhm.
still believe that they could have a better life, and I understand that completely. However, what they're doing is again, they had a video of like guys in like camouflage jumping and running across. Who knows what they're carrying? Or only like people, only men, no kids. What's going on here? Very
Yeah,
odd.
that's scary.
Well, here's another article about Cleveland, Texas. And earlier this year, before the summer, we had a Mexican national on the run after slaughtering a family of Hondurans next door to his home, including an 8-year-old child in a small Texas town 2-hour drive east of Houston called Cleveland. Now, American news media reported the murdered parents had asked their next door neighbor to stop firing a semi-automatic rifle at 11 p.m. on April 29th. They were trying to put a baby to sleep. This guy keeps shooting off his fucking AR the entire night. And so he responded by shooting them, and they tried to shield their kids by having their kids lay under their bodies as the bullets went into them. So anyway, what
Mhm.
happened is the horrific crime happens, and now it's America's largest settlement as illegal immigrants was discovered because of this episode, and everything's been exploding in the colony, and now Liberty County is spreading into San Jacinto County, which is one of my favorite parts of Texas for a couple of reasons. One, the Battle of San Jacinto, where 60 sneaky Texans crept up on like 600 sleeping Mexicans and slit their throat in the middle of the night, which was great. And that's how we won. We can't do this honorable fighting hand to hand and stuff. We can't. We did not have numbers on our side, so we had to do it the nasty way. So we won the Battle of San Jac, and that was when Santa Anna was like, "Fuck, I can't beat this." They just took out my
Yeah.
best. Anyway, so old timers been seeing a new diversity of violent crime, murder, and all-night weapons firing. The cartel drug trafficking has boomed alongside the population in Liberty County. Immigration enforcement, leave it alone to fend for itself. New book out, Overrun: How Joe Biden Unleashed the Greatest Border Crisis in U.S. History. This is a new book, and there's a whole chapter reporting on this massive illegal immigrant colonia as a warning to America about the coming consequences of unfettered mass migration, now in the third unmitigated year, which is why they're saying it's about 50,000 people that are there in 75,000 homes. It used to be Liberty County, Texas. You had a bunch of like train mechanics, a bunch of tradesmen, people living in little small burbs of like 50 to 300 people. And that was it. You had Cleveland, Dayton, Plum Grove, and Splendora. And those were the areas. And everybody was like helping each other out. They would race each other's barns and dug another person's wells. But the 72-year-old man, Jimmy Rollins, is still farming near Dayton. When I met him in May of 2022, like his dad, he was born and bred, lived in the buried age of 95 in Plum Grove. Rollins recalled riding a horse every Sunday to church and school as a kid. You're barefoot until junior high. And it was all county people, country people. We got our meat out of them woods there. They was behind in times, but everybody knew everybody, and I enjoy living here. Now a vast jungle of single and double wide trailers on low stilts and hand-hewn shacks made of leftover construction materials and parked motorhomes has quickly overtaken tens of thousands of Liberty County's acres and eradicated the rural way of life. So this is what you had for a while there. Now they're putting the development of Colony Ridge in, and it looks like a development of hell. Houston Terranos, Spanish language media platform with an international reach, began marketing lot purchases with a unique owner-to-owner method. No social security number. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac backed it, so you and I will eventually have to take over for this. And they call it Colony Ridge. This is a nasty article, only for the fact that it bears the truth of what's going on not too far from where I live. Good luck. Yeah, this is the world we live in, and they're fucking screwing us up, entire thing up. The only good news I've got in the state of Texas is that I don't know if it's even good news. Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson, the former Democrat, now switching parties. He became a Republican.
Yeah, I saw you bringing that one up.
Yeah, he secured 98.7% of the vote in the re-election campaign, and he had no intention of changing an approach to the job. Today, he changed his party affiliation. Next spring, he's voting in the Republican primary. My career in elected office ends in 2027. On the inauguration of my successor as a mayor, I will leave the office as Republican. And he's been kind of a staunch conservative. It's weird because that's Dallas. The reddest state, the reddest part of the state is not any big city. The reddest city in the state up until 2021 was Fort Worth, excuse me. Fort Worth was like the reddest city in all of Texas. But now Dallas, this guy here, like, it's really weird. Dallas kind of had some weird stuff go on early in 2010s. And there were some areas like McKinley, Texas, and they were saying you can't frack here. But other cities were opening up, like, please come get your gas and your oil here. Please come here and work because we love the economy boost, which it would they'd send 20 to 100 people in these hotels, and you'd have 20 to 100 guys making $100,000 a year traveling around the county doing frack work. And so like Dallas kind of switched its tune in the 2010s, and Johnson is just the harbinger of that. He's the standard that's been raised, I guess. And so I'm pretty impressed with this guy that he switched his party. That's if that's what you feel, go for it, man.
Well, I always thought that Texarkana at least would be, a redder town. But yeah, it's not either. That's what I'm saying. It's sad because I've been trying to look at that. And I've been trying to go to every single state and looking at it. And now Oklahoma still isn't as bad as some of these other states. Even Missouri is getting, it's just sad. The cities are
only along the interstates of Missouri do you have any blue. You got Columbus, you have, of course, St. Louis, and you've got Springfield, Joplin area. But those are like the 4 spots in Missouri that are really blue. But everywhere else is like fucking absolute crimson. Like,
yeah, but the thing is people don't realize is that the state looks red, but it's rural areas that are red, and that's fewer people. Where the massive amounts of votes come from are the cities, and they're blue, huge blue. So when those votes outweigh the rest of the state, it's not going to matter how many red areas you have. If most of the votes are coming from the blue cities, it's going to be a blue voting state. That's what I've been trying to get people to understand, and that we got to start fighting for our cities. That means get butts in the seats in the cities to make sure there's no cheating, because even though it seems blue, they might not really be blue, but we're not ever going to find out until we stop the cheat. You see what I'm saying? maybe those cities really are redder than we believe, but because of the cheating, because there's nobody working the polls that's not a cheater, we don't know what the real numbers are. You know, it's just like the census. If you have a census and every year it's rigged because they're adding or taking away numbers depending on where they want money, you see what I mean? Then we really don't know the truth until we have legal rights to see and make sure that the numbers are real, because real people are the ones getting the numbers. And until we can do that and take that part of it back, we don't really know what the truth is about any of these cities. And that's basically what I'm trying to get people to understand.
Since 2020, there's been something called the ERIC system. And I guess it's something that's supposed to, it was sold that it was going to help clean up voter rolls, but instead it's kind of made things fucked up more and more. Wisconsin announced they're introducing legislation to eliminate the system there. And they introduced legislation today to have Wisconsin join 10 out of 31 other states that have voted to sever their contract with a highly questionable and ethically and legally challenged voter database organization, ERIC. The Democrat governor is the only elected public official to have vetoed the bill that would have terminated their contract with ERIC. Gateway Pundit documented many times why so many states are leaving ERIC. Costly mandated GeoTV activities are unrelated to list maintenance, sharing data with third-party SEER for research purposes in 2020. Increasingly engages in efforts that are not on list maintenance. It appears to not be open to suggested changes from state members. Recently removed Wisconsin Administrator of Elections has served as chairman of the board for ERIC and continues to be a board member, which is a conflict of interest. Potential significant increases due to Wisconsin being because so many states have left. Okay, everybody else has left. We're going to raise your rates. Work product for ERIC is required to provide contractually. It can be always done in-house. Concerned about stewardship, maintenance, and privacy and confidentiality of voter data. This is an interesting article. It's kind of dull and dry, but it lets you know that they're trying to sever this horrible, horrible system. And I'd like to see it go away. That's part of the problem. It's tied in with Smartmatic. It's tied in with Dominion. Earlier, I mentioned the attack in Nashville, the RV that exploded on Christmas Day. That the news media was quick to feed me like, oh, that let me get to Snopes real quick, and that was not going to affect the AT&T servers, which have the information on there, but AT&T did happen to go down that day. Okay, so I just that there was a lot of electronic voter data that was hit on Christmas Day of 2020. And for those of you that don't understand that, just go back and review some things, and you'll see it, because you can see them actively in the articles trying to throw dirt on that grave. No, nothing to see here, but it's kind of crazy. Anybody want to hear about more Chicago bullshit or no?
No, it's almost midnight, and I've got to go to bed so that I can get up and go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show thing tomorrow. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I already have my tickets and a hotel room reserved, so I'm gonna have fun.
Last thing I want to mention real quick, and any of you that are wondering about the F-35 that crashed earlier this week.
Oh yeah, let's do that. That's right. We want to do that.
Did it crash, or they didn't find it yet? Did they?
Yeah, they supposedly found some stuff. Let me. You want me to bring that link up? Okay, let me go here real quick. I got to go to my Twitter.
Oh God, it's all 9/11 again. Where's a plane? Is it all a plane?
Yeah, it's supposedly. Let's see if I can find it again real quick. Just give me 1 second.
Jesus, this is just like the Chinese balloon. It's like now that the plane that flew away. This is retarded. I can't believe it.
Hold on, let me find it real quick. I'm gonna find this article about the jet. It's supposedly a 911 phone call made from a person where the guy that jumped out of the plane, or not jumped out, but ejected, landed. So I'm trying to find that again. Darn it. Why am I not being able to find it?
It's been purged from the internet.
Maybe it might have been kicked off.
You never know. The more you know, the more you have to wake up. Escape from the matrix now. That's what I'm doing, basically. I'll basically say this. If I say the following, I say that my fat tumors here are my fuel to get healthy. Just keep working it off.
Well, I can't find it now.
Well, it's kind of a weird thing because
Truth is out there, my friend.
it sounds like this guy is talking about how he was brought inside a house, ejected out of a F-35, and he's calling the homeowner to assist him by calling an ambulance. The entire delivery of what you hear is quite suspect, at the very least. There was reports earlier this week I was seeing that maybe he had been shot by a Barrett 50 caliber, as the initial reports were that his plane was breaking up, and then he said, "Oh no, I'm ejecting because of weather."
Yeah, and this though, in the 911 supposed call, he said that the plane was not acting properly. Had nothing to do with the weather.
Would it be possible that this plane, which has a down for maintenance record at a 55%, the F-35 planes are notoriously in bad shape. They are almost as reliable as a littoral combat ship. The LCS
Okay, I found it.
Firing. Okay.
Can we push pause? And
press play on
and
this. I
then-
got to hear that shit again.
yeah, hold on. Let me I got to present and share screen and click on it, and I think you can see it. It says share, but it's not doing anything.
There you go.
Can you see it now?
See it
Yeah.
now.
Okay, I'm gonna push play. Tell me if you can hear
Make
it.
it bigger. Make it bigger.
How do I do that again? Right here?
Right there. Yeah, right there. Perfect.
Okay. So here we go. Now listen.
Yeah, don't look at the video.
House
but
and he says he got ejected. So he ejected from the plane. So we just see if we could get some ambulance, please.
I'm sorry, what happened?
We got a pilot in the house, and I guess he landed in my backyard, and we're trying to see if we could get a ambulance to the house, please.
How old is the patient?
47. So we had a military jet crash. I'm the pilot. We need to get rescue rolling. I'm not sure where the airplane is. It would have crash landed somewhere. I ejected.
How far did he fall?
I was at 2,000 feet.
Okay, and what caused the fall?
An aircraft failure.
Okay.
It didn't really
Okay,
fail.
is there any
I know it's
serious
60
bleeding?
miles.
I don't know. I can't see myself.
No, he looks fine.
Okay.
He's just a couple scratches.
Okay, we're sending the paramedics to help you now. Stay on the line and I'll tell you exactly what to do next. Do not move unless you're in danger and do not splint any injuries. And if anything changes or if you get worse in any way, just call us back immediately for further instructions.
Interesting.
Well, that was interesting, wasn't it? What was funny is it was in a group of people that they're sharing it because a friend of mine that's a stewardess, they said it sounded like her voice, but she's not a 911 operator. But yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Mhm.
So the pilot said he was 47. Is that too old for a pilot in the military?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
He
well,
might be a reservist,
I
too.
just think the whole thing is bizarre with all the different
He's
stories.
a senior pilot, doing a mission
Yeah.
or something.
A senior pilot that's not wearing a vest that has a beacon on it so that the government can find out where he is when he ejects from a plane. Think about that for a
Secret
minute.
mission. That's what
Tell
it is.
me what that means.
I don't know what they're doing with the F-35s, but that plane, if it had a failure, it got taken another 60 miles off course, pilotless. And the thing that I'm wondering is that did China hack the plane?
I don't know, but the 911 operator doesn't sound like she knows what she's doing either. Because
No.
when he says he jumped out of the plane, he didn't jump out of the plane. He said ejected. And most people understand that means the seat and everything goes out and there's a giant parachute and all that stuff, right? Is what you'd think. And if you're a trained 911 operator, wouldn't you know what ejected means?
Mm-hmm.
But then she says, how far did you fall? You know, stuff like that. It just was, I don't know. The whole thing sounds very.
But 2,000 feet, it's interesting, you know.
Yeah, and 2,000 feet. Okay, if he fell from 2,000 feet, you know, you think he'd be hurt more or something. I don't know. I just, you know, the whole thing is very suspect. Does not, but I was sharing that with.
So he did have some trouble because again, he's flying at like 40,000, 50,000, whatever, 10,000 feet or whatever it is.
And he said the plane was having problems.
Then yeah, so that makes why 2,000 about to hit the ground, and he ejected at 2,000 feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're right, Bruce. It could be interference, but how can China interfere with stuff in the United States, even if it was using a satellite or whatever, without our government knowing that they're interfering? I mean,
let me pull. I'll just present this video real quick.
Okay.
This is the debris field of the F-35.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Saw this yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, those poor trees. That evil plane needed to go. We're lucky it didn't cause a forest fire.
Yeah, it's pretty green looking now. So, you know, if it's pretty green.
Where's the scorch marks? No telltale signs of a big explosion or something. I don't see that.
It may not have exploded.
I don't think it exploded. There's some scorch marks right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big divot, you know what I mean? But I don't think I don't remember hearing anybody say that there was a loud explosion or anything like that. You know what I mean? On the news. So, oh, hi, Woke Breaker.
And let me also say that in 2019, concerns were raised by the Pentagon of the possibility that the F-35 could be hacked.
Mm-hmm.
The Pentagon themselves said that. So we have to keep this in mind when we're dealing with this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are not claiming anything like this is being told us the whole truth.
Yeah. I know that this something's not right. I mean, I'm telling you, this whole thing is way bizarro. I don't know if it's our government's involved in it, or if it's just the Chinese government, or ours and the Chinese government's involved. It's just like everything at the before we started. Remember, I was telling you that I think that I just think that the people involved in all of this is just trying to destroy our country from the inside out. Mm-hmm. You know, make it to where our government cannot defend itself from another country. If we have shitty planes, shitty tanks, shitty weapons, shitty ammo, shitty pilots, shitty soldiers, they're all woke. They only know how to run around and parade in tutus or whatever they're training them to do. I don't know. But all I know is that we left, look how we evacuated and left all that equipment in Afghanistan. I mean, that would never have happened under another president that we've had before this one. I'm saying,
or at least if it did, they would basically eviscerate Trump in this press.
But they would have destroyed this stuff. If they couldn't bring our stuff back, they would blow it up. make it so they couldn't use the weapons against us. You see,
It's
stuff
such a
like
waste.
that. That to
It's
me is
such a
just,
waste.
it's all on purpose.
Yeah.
I just don't see any other way for it to make any sense except that it's on purpose to ruin us. I mean, to blow up the pipelines, to stop drilling for oil, to stop refining oil. They're burning down all these food processing plants. They're killing the cows. They're killing the chickens. They're sabotaging the egg laying. They're all these things. If you just take into effect all the stuff, they're imploding our country from the inside to make it to where we cannot feed ourselves. We can't make our own meds. We can't make our own bullets. We can't build our own ships or anything. We have to farm out everything we do. They're making us not independent. They're making us reliable on every other people to where we can't feed ourselves. We can't arm ourselves. We can't do anything for ourselves. So what happens when a big country like China or Russia or whoever wants to come in and take us over? We have no way of defending ourselves. Yeah, you and me, we have guns. We can fight a small battle for a certain amount of time until we're out of ammo. Once we're out of ammo and we can't buy more, then what do? We can't feed ourselves. We're out of food. The chickens are all dead. They're all infertile. They can't lay eggs. The cows are all dying. I mean, I'm just saying it's not looking good. All I see is sabotage after sabotage after sabotage by our own people in our own country.
Yes.
Getting rid of us.
Because they want to be,
because they
want influence. They want to be influencers.
Yeah. And people are dying left and right from heart disease and cancer and all this stuff due to a jab that most people didn't want. So we can't replenish our population. And we can't feed our people, and we can't house them because we have so many addicted to opioids that they just want to live in the street. You see, I just don't know how else to explain it any different than what I'm trying to explain about what I think our government is doing to us on purpose, so we can be taken over, so we can be turned into communists.
It's a plot of Wall-E.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
that's what I see.
The climate crisis leave.
And you and I, the guys that have got guns in our house and that have taken training and stuff like that and trying to stock up on learning how to get our own water, raise our own food, grow our own crops, and learn how to use our weapons to protect ourselves, we're all that's left. We're the freedom fighters, people. That's us.
We're the rebels.
We're the guerrillas. We're the ones that are going to be rooftop deplorables to defend what's ours from our own government, helping hand over our stuff to someone else. I don't know who they're handing it to, but it's not us. They're not giving our country back to us. They're giving it to someone else, one city at a time. And that's what I'm seeing. And it's scary to think about, but it's going to fall on us to defend what's left when the government's done with it. So, hope you're ready. That's all I can say.
Ready. I'm getting ready. That's the whole point.
I hate to be such a black pillar.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's why the positive side is, and that is exactly why I am taking control of my health, getting rid of the MS, healing myself, and then start to go. I want to get married again, be with somebody, to work together to make America great again on the individual level, make our lives enriched, make our families' lives enriched, and start to set down roots. And then start in your local area. If you love your country, then get a hold of your neighbor, work together, get on the city board, get on the school board, and say no more. We're going to support traditional family and good American values, and help your fellow brother or sister. That's all you have to do, and that's what I want to do. That's what I'm looking. That's my mission now.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all of us we can do is try to protect what we have, learn how to be as self-sustainable as possible, figure out ways that we can contact each other once the grid goes down. I mean,
Yes.
It's
we've got
gonna
to be able to have people that we trust, because that might be the only way that we can survive, is to, go from hop around until we can outlast them. I don't know what else we have, honestly.
It's
but-
so crazy.
It is crazy. And if we talked about this 10 years ago already, we thought, wow, you guys writing a screenplay or something?
Yeah.
Do you write a novel? But we say, no, we're preparing for the future. And they're like, oh, you're one of those people. And we're like, yeah. And then now they're looking at us going, wow, you guys were so right.
Right.
I mean, we're starting
But-
to watch stuff and go, man, they knew about this years ago.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
was planned.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's longer than you could have possibly imagined. It's unfortunately how long it's really been going on for.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know,
I know. It's
longer than you think. Much longer than you think.
But
It's
it's almost been 3 hours, guys, and I'm really getting tired. And I do have things to do, but I just want to thank you guys for joining me tonight and helping me get some of this off my chest, because this is the only place I could vent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
But,
basically, and one last thing, at least from my perspective,
mhm.
let our hearts and love go out to those we have lost recently in our lives. It's been a tough time for a lot of people, and
Mhm.
again, that we have to stay together and know the spirit of love and happiness is still out there, and that's what I'm going to do, no matter what. We can talk about how we're in the shit show, but we have each other, and that's what my mission is now, to promote that and become together with one, and still be
Mhm.
strong together, because we can't give in to despair. We have to look at the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm.
Good night.
And the only way that we can move forward, and the only way that we can survive, is knowing the truth.
Yep.
Right? And sharing the truth with other people and trying to show them what we know. And hopefully when they see it, they'll be able to realize, oh, I got to look into this and find out as much as I can and share it with someone else. And hopefully we can get more and more people to understand that it's going to be on us. We are the only ones that's going to stop them. We're the wall, we're the ones. We're the chosen ones, people.
Correct.
It's us. And after the battle's over, we have to rebuild. We have to be able to raise food, grow food, build places to live, and try to help the people that have been hurt by this mess. And we're it. So it's a scary thought, but someone's got to do it. And I tell people, go watch The Walking Dead, and that will help you prepare for what our future might be like, without the zombies, of course, but the way they're having to live in factions, little groups, and how to scavenge.
Well, there are zombies.
Food. Yeah. Well, yeah, government zombies, I'll put it that way. But scavenge, how to barter, how to grow your food, and how to protect what you already have from people that want to come take it because they don't want to work for it.
Yep.
That's where we're going to be. And that's why you got to trust people, because, I got to sleep and you got to sleep too. So when you're sleeping, you got to have someone you trust that's got your back, and that's what right now, what we're doing is finding the people who are going to have our back when that time comes. And that's the only other way I know how to say it. But,
well, that's interesting. I was just thinking the same thing. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly the same thing.
I love this country and I wanted to die for her. And I'm sure there's many of you out there that feel the same way. You're going to fight for what you believe in and fight for what's yours and fight for the people you love. And that's what we are.
As valiant and as nice as that sounds, I'd much rather you be more accurate with your pew pew and make somebody else die for their shitty ideas, and you die for ours.
Well, I'm pretty good. I took
Okay.
the class, and I was pretty high in the class. And every chance I get, I go and I practice, because that's important. You know, you can't just sit it there and just forget about it and wait till, oh, well, one day I'll get to use it. You should be using it as much as you can just to stay comfortable with it. Because one day we are going to have to use them. I hate for that to happen, but it's going to happen. And we know it in our gut. I know we know it. I more each day that goes by, the more I believe that it's getting close. And I don't want to see anyone suffer, but it's going to happen. And we're going to have to be there to pick at the pieces. So be ready and take care of each other.
Promise you.
Yeah, I do. I'm ready. Well, I feel like I'm ready. I think I can step up to the plate when the time comes. But thank you guys for joining us tonight. And I'm so thankful. I have such good friends. And thank you so much, Bruce. And thank you so much, Ruben, for joining me.
No problem.
Big thanks go out to our friend just another red shirt for his appearance
Oh, yeah.
for us tonight.
Exactly.
Sure.
Love streaming with that guy. He's just a good, authoritative, just manly voice. Good masculine man. Thank you, sir.
Good husband. At least you sound like it. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who showed up tonight in our chat, because without you guys, you know, supporting us, we basically don't really have a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I appreciate all of you guys. And you guys are what make me want to get up and do it again tomorrow. So thank you so much. And I want all of you guys to have a wonderful night. And I'm going to have fun tomorrow at the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm going to enjoy myself. And I wish everybody could do something fun like that. So try to do something fun tomorrow and this weekend and enjoy yourselves. Good night, everyone.
Good night, people. God bless.
God